And there we have it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a show where we take the books in the past week, comic books that is, and then recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then give you recommendations for comics that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up. Obviously, when there is a significant film or comic book show or some other kind of thing that is in the pop culture, I hesitate to use this word, but zeitgeist, we got to dedicate the episode to that because, of course, this is the only comic book review show here on this channel, youtube.com/ComicPOP. If you are new here, welcome. I think you're going to enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe to get our 3 videos at least per week, and we'll hang out. You get to know us very, very well. For those of you who are new here, of course, you know, or those of you who are not new, those of you who are regulars know, you are a sponsor for today's episode. If you want to help us out, you can always use Super Chats to ask a question or comment. We will weave it here on the show. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of conversation going on in the chat for today, because today we're dedicating a whole episode to Zack Snyder's Justice League, aka the Snyder Cut. That thing that I'm sure you could make a compilation video of me talking about how it's never going to happen and how it would never exist. Well, It does.
Here it is.
I never professed to be a Nostradamus or Nostracomics, so to speak. Is a joke that we made actually years ago on Back Issues, and somebody, God help you, made a YouTube channel called Nostracomics and dedicated the entire thing to saying, like, we came up with that name and they took it and used it to make their YouTube channel. So good for them. I know. So we're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, but before we do, I also wanted to talk really quick. I just want to bring this up because I neglected to do it last week, and oh,
I know what it is.
And I just thought it'd be kind of cool. So here's the thing. We've talked about Valiant before on this channel a number of times. We've done a number of giveaways, and they've been around for 30 years. If you're not familiar, you've just probably never picked up a book of theirs. But they make Bloodshot, X-Man Award, Ninjak, and other characters associated with that brand. They're the third comic shared universe. And the reason why I'm bringing them up is because there's a book coming out in the next month. In April, that will be finally reaching stands, and I want you to get on the ground floor of the series because, and I'm not being paid to do this, no one from Valiant is like, sending us, any money or like collectibles as a result. We did get a PDF to read the book, and I owe them nothing for that because, like, there are plenty of blogs that also got the PDF, so it's not like that's a special quid pro quo kind of thing.
I just wanted to do it.
They've been working on this book for a long time. And I wanted to mention that, like, this is a good-looking book. It is written by Cullen Bunn with art by John Davis Hunt. If you don't know who John Davis Hunt is, he drew the Wildstorm for DC a number of years ago. That was the, like, kind of like full adult relaunch of, like, Wildcats and the Wildstorm universe. But John Davis Hunt's art is friggin' nuts. Not only in this book, but also just in general. Yeah. And Cullen Bunn, of course, they call him the master of horror. He's written a number of amazing books that you are very much a fan of.
Yes.
In fact, there's a lot of mainstream books that he's written that you're like, I like this book.
Yes.
Despite, audience's reception of it. Monsters Unleashed.
Yeah, for sure.
Venomized.
I don't remember what it was called.
I think it was Venomized.
Yeah.
But also, of course...
Yeah, no, I just enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of his books. But now I'm going to be enjoying...
Shadowman! That's right, we didn't even mention the title. Shadowman is coming out. Now, if you're not familiar with Shadowman, New Orleans-based superhero has access to this place called the Dark Side. It's basically like...
the dead side.
The dead side. Dark Side. No.
It's
I got Snyder Cut on the brain. But has access to the dead side, and in this book, he's the protector of our realm and from threats from the dead side. What kind of threats? Crazy ass monsters that you kind of feel bad for. It's super cool. I read the first 2 issues, and the reason why I bring it up is because this is the book. Like, if you've ever been like, I keep hearing about Valiant, and then I pick up a book or I see something about it, and it's like, this is the book. If you're giving a shot to books like Erratic and Radiant Black, if you've ever thought about picking up a Valiant book, I don't mind putting our brand associated with Shadowman. This book looks incredible. It is written very well. It sets up a really interesting universe. It feels very self-contained, but could very easily expand into, like, the implications of the first 2 issues of Shadowman could actually become a massive event for Valiant. I don't think they're going to do that,
Sure.
but like it could easily be that way, and it would be actually really cool, like to watch like Exo Manowar or Bloodshot or Ninjak like fight creatures from the dead side, or try, or be possessed by creatures from the dead side. The implications are astronomical and far-reaching, but the book itself is like very self-contained, very intimate, and just ultimately probably one of the best books from Valiant in the last couple of years. Just unequivocally, it's a good book.
Yeah,
and it's worth reading.
And it's also just a solid team up. I mean, like Bun can write a lot of different things, but like I think Bun is at his like the peak of his
pinnacle Bun
when he's writing horror. So there you go.
Yeah. So I just want to mention it because I think pre-orders are up to April 5th. So you may want to, if you want to get it, pre-order it. Let them know because the book looks great. You can go anywhere. Just type in Shadowman #1 2021. You'll see some unbelievable art. It just the design for Shadowman's cool. The monsters, it's dope. It's just a cool looking book.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Yes.
So we'll get to the super chats in just a minute, but let's talk about the Snyder Cut. So Tiffany, Ben, and myself sat down.
We did. We
were like, are we watching? Are we doing this now? Are we all right? And we turned it on. 4 hours later, we watched the whole thing. No stops except to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, there was like a couple of those stops,
which was wonderful.
We were needed.
No, absolutely. and to no credit of the Snyder Cut, it's not like the Snyder Cut like did something to me inside. I needed to expel it. Just needed to go to the bathroom. It's just I can't sit through a 4-hour movie anymore. There was a time where I would go to like see Return of the King extended cut in the theaters like 4 times, but like, nowadays. I need a pause button.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful for it. But so much discussed, much anticipated, lots of cultural backing for this whole thing.
Sure.
And so so I don't want to do a point by point, part by point.
We're not going to do a point by point. We're probably just going to do an overall discussion. We're going to try very hard to not make this like
a wank or bitch fest. Like I don't want to complain or praise too much.
It's just going to be like we'll talk about it objectively. Occasionally we'll talk about it subjectively. We'll try to let you know when one is happening over the other because some things are just objective. This is how it happened. Some of it's going to be very much our opinions.
Yes.
I hope that y'all in the chat keep it
cool,
civil, and like this isn't like listen, folks. I read a statistic the other day that like a lot of like sporting events are losing out on younger folks going to see it. They're just not interested in that.
That's right. Yes, you told me about this.
That doesn't mean that we need to find a place to compete constantly.
No.
And so like if you're a huge fan of the DCEU or
Snyder in general,
specifically that, doesn't mean you need to call out other things that people might be fans of.
That's
Similarly,
true.
Those who are fans of other films that happen to probably be comic book related, you don't need to do a comparison there. We're here to talk about this movie, and that's what we're going to talk about.
That's right.
All right?
Yeah.
So that's just, I just want to point it out. Everything doesn't have to be a competition.
No.
There's room for everything.
That's right. I've heard, I've used the expression many times, a rising tide raises all ships.
Yep.
I actually implicitly believe that there could be potential for the Snyder Cut to help everybody, not just HBO Max, because I firmly believe if HBO, Warner Brothers, AT&T didn't spend trillions of dollars to try and create a Disney Plus / Netflix competitor, the Snyder Cut would not exist. And when I say exist, I mean it would exist in film canisters far away from here, in a salt mine. Instead, it's a thing you can watch. And the only reason why that is the case is because somebody spent the gross national income of an entire small Western country to try and compete with Netflix. And so they needed content, and they knew there was a vocal amount of people who wanted this thing that they already had access to. Why not just put it out and get people to sign up?
Yep.
Makes sense to me. It's a perfect business decision. It's a company. They're there to make money. I get it.
Yep.
Totally. But it's kind of this amazing thing, this entity, because I don't see Zack Snyder's Justice League as a movie in the traditional sense.
No, it's definitely not in the traditional sense, for
right?
Sure. In terms of what movie production studios think a film is, it's not that.
No, I don't think it should be judged as a film from the perspective of film criticism or film going, because it is so different a thing. It's a thing that does not exist. It has not existed.
Right. I mean,
before.
Even when you see other films being released as a completely digital release, they still stick to a lot of the standards of
Right, like
filmmaking.
If the movie's going to be extended, it's going to be like 3.5 hours long. Like I think that's kind of like the glass ceiling. I think Return of the King's 3 hours 45.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still I think the Snyder Cut's got it beat. But it's not like watching a number of shows or episodes and making it into a movie. It's not the same thing. This is a movie. It was filmed as a movie, then they released 4 hours, which I think there isn't a stone unturned. I think there isn't a deleted scene left out of this thing.
I mean, there could be.
I doubt it. I significantly think that there's so few scenes left out. They added stuff in.
No, it's true.
You know?
There you go.
But my reason for bringing up the fact that I don't look at this as a movie is because A, it's kind of cool, and B, it's kind of weird because it is this thing that A, shouldn't exist because by all rights, like there shouldn't have been a pandemic. AT&T should not have probably created HBO Max. Like there's a number of things that have birthed this thing into existence. So, but we are in this reality where this thing exists. And now that it does, it's kind of interesting how Snyder has created it and crafted it because number one, 6 parts, but not broken up into episodes, parts. Like it's like
and an epilogue.
Like and an epilogue.
And an epilogue.
Yeah. Like movements. It's like this thing's like a symphony. And that's going to be the quote on the friggin' box. It's like, this thing's like a symphony, ComicPOP. But like, I really do feel like they're from the aspect ratio to the structure of the movie.
Yeah.
It's something different, which is kind of cool. And I'm not the biggest fan of Snyder's interpretation of these DC characters.
Right.
But I can admit when it's like, neat, this dude is, in the most basic terms, an artist and a creative person who is doing something creatively.
Yes.
From his demands to making it like 4:3 aspect ratio to putting in parts you didn't need. And I remember somebody talking about how like, well, each part references a tonal shift in the film. And I'm like, yeah, usually movies do that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel, and regardless of the parts, it doesn't feel like each part is its own movie or that each part is a different kind of thing.
No, I actually like those sequences for me, like or like the like title cards, like acted more like a chapter break and like let me know almost that like X amount of time had gone by,
right? As
opposed to setting up the scene,
right?
I personally, subjectively speaking, I didn't need those title cards at all.
I didn't need them either but here's the thing is I went in watching it as a movie. I'm like, okay, here we go. And from the moment that it was 4:3 or whatever you want to call it, but with black bars, and somebody was like, but there's black bars on top and bottom. But like, yeah, we don't shoot movies like that unless they're called The Lighthouse. And they were using like ancient equipment to do it.
Yeah, that was like the constraints of the film itself.
Yeah, but in a stylistic decision that was made by the creators, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But like the
film was also black and white.
It was black and white.
There was something about that like tricks your eye.
Yeah, but you know what? The Snyder Cut is practically black and white.
I guess there were moments for me with the 4:3 aspect that like every time there's anything like an explosion, bright light, something like that, immediately I was brought back to like, wait. Yeah. Wait. You know what I mean? And it doesn't detract from the movie.
No.
It's one of those things where I was like, okay.
I'm having a different experience.
Listen, the artist says like, this is what I want and this is how I want the story to tell.
Right.
The viewer now of said art gets to question and or support, and I question what that brought to it.
Agreed.
Versus what it might have looked like in a widescreen. That was it.
Yeah, and I've seen that aspect ratio that he used is absolutely not IMAX, because I've seen The Dark Knight, and that has IMAX sequences filmed, and it is absolutely not that aspect ratio. I've seen that criticism as well, where like, and I'm not even lobbing criticism at the aspect ratio. It's just more like, it was a very different experience. And I remember like from the marketing of this thing, I'm like, you're not really going to make it Instagram sized, are you? Like, because that kind of sucks. But
the longest was it Reels?
Yeah.
Or IGTV ever.
Right. But so technically speaking, the movie is like deliberately given to the audiences as something other than just giving you like a 2.5 hour blockbuster.
Yeah. It's very mumuch almost a statement saying like, you couldn't have this in theaters, and the fact is, you couldn't have this in theaters. Yeah. There's a lot of film houses don't want to put together a 4-hour movie, and I don't think a lot of theaters, unless they're doing something special, like they're doing a re-release on something when it's a director's cut like this, where they might go back and like re-show it, but like in a theater that's a little smaller. But like, when you think about it, then like the movie theater themselves is actually making a little less money because it's like it's a longer runtime. They can't show as many showings of it.
That's right.
So for a lot of reasons, mostly business wise, like you can only get this in this capacity.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't want to break it down into parts. We'll just talk about like elements of this entity, this movie. Obviously, some of the big changes between the Whedon cut and the Snyder cut. Whedon clearly tailored the movie towards his own kind of like stylistic decision making. I question, and I don't know the story behind it because I refuse to listen to the hearsay surrounding Whedon's motivation, the studio's motivation. Like, you don't know. Unless it's like directly from the horse's mouth, and I don't want to hear from like a production hand. I mean, like literally a statement issued by either camp.
Sure.
But like somebody wanted that movie chock full of jokes and colors when they first released the theatrical cut.
Yeah, they wanted to look brighter and they wanted it to be a shorter movie.
Yep.
And yeah.
And they wanted that like kind of Whedon stamp, or I think Marvel stamp.
Sure.
Because the reality is BVS, it's Batman vs Superman. It's the two most iconic superheroes of all time. Should have made $1 billion. In a perfect world where superhero movies make $1 billion, should have made $1 billion. Didn't make $1 billion. Warner Brothers blames the creative, changes it up. Goes, okay, backing the creator didn't work. Let's just go by formula, copy what the guys who made $1 billion did.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, that's businesses across the board for the most part. Right. Like, that's like everyone's
That's literally what Marvel and DC Comics had been doing since the age of Stan Lee.
And we're not saying that's the right thing to do. That's just like a go-to tactic. I see it a lot in your own
job, line of work,
yeah, like where I just see people being like, "What are they doing?"
Yeah,
we'll do that too.
We'll do that too, and like, we'll do the Pepsi version of whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's the best thing to do. It's better. I think it's better to innovate.
Absolutely, yeah, than copy.
Yeah,
or imitate.
Yes,
but sometimes imitation is the highest form of flattery, and this certainly was a flattering attempt at being a Marvel movie. It failed in every way, but like, at the end of the day, Justice League 2017 was a forgettable thing.
Yeah, utterly.
Because here's the thing. I wasn't the biggest fan of BVS. I wasn't a big fan of Man of Steel, but like seeing BVS, wasn't the biggest fan.
No.
But I remember so much of that movie.
I do too. No, I feel you on that.
Like, and it's unmistakably Snyder's vision.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's that creator's depiction of this universe and these characters. And like it or leave it, that's what it is. Justice League 2017 was this kind of like patchwork mess.
Yeah.
It was a clusterfuck.
It was.
No question.
Not at all.
And it's in its attempt to be something else and deliberately alter the creative's message, it became forgettable, which is the worst thing a movie can be. Because if I didn't like BVS, but I still remember it, the movie worked.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of just art in general. Like, if art makes you think and it makes you react,
that's all it is.
Regardless of which way, it's done its job. Which is like frustrating sometimes if it's something you don't care for.
True.
But also something, that's
but
great.
You have to respect it.
Yeah. But if it's something you're like, it doesn't make you think and it doesn't make you like feel necessarily.
Yeah.
It's not a good place to be.
No, it's true. I mean, like, you've seen, I'm sure you've seen the stories about apparently Mark Waid saw Man of Steel in the theater, and like when he snapped Zod's neck, he like screamed and yelled and left the theater. Like, you can't argue with the fact that art moved a person.
It moved him
out of the theater, but he'll never forget it. And I'm sure no one in that theater will ever forget that experience.
Sure.
Right? Like, and
except
that's
most
what art
people
does.
In the theater didn't know who he was.
No, they just remember like some lunatic freaking out.
That's funny.
Man who was too old to be doing that, having a breakdown.
Yeah.
But that being said, significant changes. Number one, and I think it's not even really like a compliment or criticism, but like this is an unmistakable Zack Snyder joint. to borrow the phrase.
Yeah.
It is his movie through and through.
Yep.
Though I will say, having seen I think almost every single Zack Snyder movie of all time. Like I think I've seen all of them.
I think I've seen most of them.
Right? This felt it felt almost like it was trying in certain parts to be a Zack Snyder movie more than it was just being one.
There were definitely some moments in this film that I was like, I'm thinking of other movies.
Yes.
A little bit more so than I feel like I should be right now.
Yeah. That first hour.
Yeah, it definitely
first
felt
hour.
like some homages to his own work.
Mm-hmm.
Not in necessarily like a bad way,
No.
I guess, but like that was just interesting. I was like, okay.
Oh, we're doing
for someone
that.
doing some like for someone who's putting his like foot down about a 4.3 or whatever
Yeah.
aspect ratio, like I'm making art, I'm making something different, I'm making something that is me.
Yeah.
To then make me think of other films. Usually,
But at least they're his films.
They are his films, but like oftentimes you'll run into creatives if you're ever at a con,
Yeah.
and you talk to an artist,
Oh.
and you tell them, "Hey, I loved this thing you did," and if it is any time in the past, a lot of times you're gonna get like, "Oh," and you're gonna wonder to yourself, "What the hell? What was up with that interaction?"
Yeah, because it means so much to me.
Because yes, but for a lot of artists, that's saying like, "Oh, I was better then."
Right, or you're saying I was better then.
Yeah, and
even if they think they're better now.
Yeah, and I've grown.
Yes.
And so like I only want to grow and I want to keep moving forward. A lot of folk tend to just leave that stuff in the past.
Yes.
And they don't like really want to talk about that.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. I was like, we went from like art house moment to like, oh, okay.
Oh, I'm reminding you of the things I've done before.
Gotcha.
That being said, this movie was mostly all shot 4 years ago. Or really more like 5 years ago. So the Snyder that's making that other zombie movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see that movie.
I am too. I mean, the fact is, it's like, regardless of like cultural inappropriateness of like 300 in terms of like what it does, what, you know.
What it says, what it does, what it's about.
Yeah, like, I like that movie a lot, and I actually, there are moments in that movie that I'm like, that's just like beautifully shot, and like I am like genuinely like
that's just a solid flick,
right? Like I adore that.
Yep. The music, the cinematography, even the slow mo effects.
The slow mo thing, I got to use that in a class. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, we sat down. I watched Sucker Punch.
Yes.
And I wanted to like that so bad.
That movie, and that is not a movie.
Yeah.
If it was just a music video. Yeah. You cut that down to 15 minutes and just play some Metallica or something over that, I'm in.
Yeah. But like, speaking of those very specifically, like when we see the Amazons, I immediately, I mean, like you can't
not think of 300.
You can't not think of 300.
Yes. But
shields, swords, spears.
Yes, and how much of that is just like that Amazon sequence was better now? Is it because it's a better sequence, or is it better because I'm more reminded of 300?
I think it's something that he's comfortable filming. I think you see that there, that like it is something that it's like, I know how to film this. I've done this.
Swords, stone, abs.
I know how to make it look badass.
Yeah, and he did.
And he absolutely did.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing, is that like the changes that are made ultimately, I think, even changes. The movie we saw, or the thing that they released, it is unquestionably his vision, and I think it's ultimately better than the thing we saw before.
As friend of the show, Jason Inman,
back in the
he's 100% correct about that. The Sucker Punch trailer with White Rabbit.
Yes, solid trailer.
I listened to that on repeat, and then I saw that movie, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, two of the best trailers of all time. That and Phantom Menace. Watch that teaser for Phantom Menace and try to divorce yourself of the movie. Solid teaser.
So good.
That moment, and you gotta go to the teaser where like the Gungans are coming through the mist, and it's like, where was that?
Yeah.
Where's that movie you sold me? But in any case,
so that's not what
you're reminded of that. Yeah. But like, yes, it's this very big, monstrous thing that ultimately is, I think, an expression of Zack Snyder at that time, because he's also dealing with the fallout of BVS, setting up his trilogy or whatever he's working on, because at that time we don't even know, like, was there going to be was he going to split this movie into 2 parts? Was he going to make a sequel? I mean, well, obviously they were going to make more Justice League movies, but was he setting it up where it's like, at the end of Avengers, nobody knew it was going to be Ultron, even Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
With Snyder's Justice League, I think he knew exactly where this movie was gonna go.
I think that he did too, and I don't know if the executives were ready.
No,
and so
absolutely not. And that's too bad. Like, and here's the thing, it's the problem with it's the problem with studio interference and executive control. You need it, because I truly do believe that best art comes from adversity.
Oh, I agree.
BVS didn't make $1 billion. Okay, that movie's over. It's already done. You can release a 3-hour cut, which they did, but not in theaters, and try to get another bite of the apple and get your $1 billion back. But like, the reality is you didn't spend $1 billion, so like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you can only really focus on what the next movie is. And So you just hunker down. You know, if you've already locked him into a contract and he's already shot like 90% of the flick, finish the flick, stand by your movie. You know?
Yeah.
And make that. If you want to switch gears, you go, and bravo! And we wish him the best. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not that he was necessarily fired from the movie. He had a tragedy in his family's life, and so he had to walk away from the project. But like, I'm sure that Warner Brothers is also working towards preempting that. Like, I'm sure there was work already being made to take it away from him. You
know, I could definitely see on their end, they were like, this is an opportunity. And like, opportunity for tragedy sucks.
It does. Absolutely.
Man up. And like, listen, if you have to fire someone, or you don't like you don't want to have the uncomfortable conversation, you got to have the uncomfortable conversation. You're in charge. Yeah. Like, if you're like, I don't like where you're going with this, Zach, you got to tell him that. Right. Don't just be like, okay, this worked out.
Oh, thank God. I mean, that's not cool. That's so sad, but like, also, yes.
That's not cool.
Let's get the Avengers guy.
Yeah, it's not cool.
It's just apples and oranges too. Like, what are you doing?
And I know we've said this before, because you were just mentioning the fact that it's like, you know, it's him 5 years ago. Yeah. Now he gets to make this film. Right. And I know we literally just said this, but like, and we've said this before, as we were coming up to this release, that like, this is also a singular experience that no one else will really ever have in terms of making a film. Right. Because he started making this film. Mm-hmm. Someone else finished making the film.
Then he got to go back.
5 years have passed. Other related films have come out. Right. And now he gets to finish his film. Yeah. And so, like...
This isn't even the movie, what you're saying.
No, and I've said this before. This isn't his original film.
Right. This is not the vision he had 5 years ago.
This is part of it, I'm sure. Yeah. I have no doubt that part of this is absolutely what he wanted to do back then. But this is him 5 years later. This is an artist 5 years later. And as I said, artists like to grow.
And what's funny is we got to see the current Zack Snyder in the Epilogue. Yeah. That movie, because that's not an epilogue. That is a short. Yeah. That is a short film. That is a teaser. That is a proof of concept for the movie that he'd like them to pay him to make again. Because that is just so disconnected from the 4-hour cut, from the 3 hour and 54-minute cut. That Epilogue is so different in terms of execution, acting, performance, look, their direction. It's just a very different looking movie. Yeah. Now that, and of course, financial constraints, yada, yada, yada. But I think you're getting a closer, more accurate version of Zack Snyder's vision from that than you are from this movie he already shot.
Right, but like, he got to go back and re-edit that and add some things in or change some stuff up. And so it's like, again, this is just something to keep in mind because of what a solitary moment it is in terms of like cinema history.
Right, because like no one, they're not going to let this happen again. I mean, like, they will. And when I say they, I mean some studio is going to do that. But like, that's the thing, is that it's it's like BVS, two largest superheroes of all time, fighting each other, crossing over. Warner Brothers could have done this at any time in the last 30 years, chose to do it then, didn't make $1 billion. Oh no, need to switch gears halfway through developing the sequel to this movie, which has the first introduction on celluloid for like certain characters, like Flash or Cyborg, or, you know, even Wonder Woman at the time, before the Patty Jenkins movie. So like, you're never going to get this lightning in a bottle. And I hesitate to use that word because it's not necessarily lightning in a bottle. Lightning in a bottle is usually associated with like a brilliant idea. And this is more like a thing that happened that it's more like a time capsule or a glimpse into an alternate reality.
Right. It's a moment in time.
It's a moment in time. And yes, like you said, it's like will never come again.
Yeah.
And it's kind of remarkable. And it's funny, we saw in the aftermath of the media acclaim surrounding this cut, Warner Brothers getting ahead of it and saying there is no Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I saw Ayer tweet, he goes, why not? So Ayer's clearly aping for that.
Well, and that is the other thing too. I've seen around
Perfect Storm,
some folk are concerned / I guess really just concerned for different reasons. The implications of letting a director go back and do this. Now, a lot of folks see this just from the side of like, but he didn't get to finish. And I hear you. Right. 100%. Yeah. However, what you do open up is the opportunity for a director who did get to finish his film to go back and be like, oh no, I actually want to do this. And then it completely changes it.
Yeah, give me $60-70 million and let me right wrongs and change things. The difference is I with this cut specifically, is that, again, I only think he added to it. I don't think he excised sequences that he himself directed because he thought, oh, you know what, that's actually in poor taste, I shouldn't do that.
Right.
Like, you can tell just from the comparative shots, you know, where they like reshot entire scenes that were just like the last scene just to work in a Whedon gag. And it's like, and Snyder cut all that out.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. I think that the implication of this film opens the door and could be a slippery slope.
Absolutely. I mean, Hollywood.
But I don't think Snyder took that advantage.
No, Hollywood already is so compelled to do reboots for things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now to have like directors being like, "Oh, I always wanted to do this is my film," and it's like, dude, that film's 10 years old. That film's 20 years old.
That movie's over.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing you made at the time. This was the art you put out there, and live with it. This is a different situation, but it does open the door for that to potentially happen.
Totally. I'm reminded of the Dick Donner cut from Superman 2, and apparently, you know how he was kicked off the movie halfway through.
Yeah.
And so, like, we have kind of a finished movie. The DVD or Blu-ray release of that movie is like, it's a different movie in terms of tone and execution. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much the same movie, not unlike the Snyder Cut in terms of it being like, is it still about a shiny guy who's trying to get boxes and squish them together? Yeah. Like, if you want to break down movies based on like a YouTube clip, yes, that's exactly what the movie's about. But like... And the Dick Donner cut, like, is it about 3 Kryptonians punching Superman? Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what it is.
That's what it is, yeah.
But with respect to the Donner cut, I remember, like, the story around is fascinating, but, like, they were going to make that regardless. It was going to be the Donner cut whether Donner was interested or not. They were just going to, like, clean up the footage and put it out, and Donner's like, I don't want to do that. And then eventually he was like, yeah, I guess I do. Which also should indicate that, like, this opens the door, and yes, like even like Scorsese being told like, hey, you can go back and clean up The Irishman, or hey, you can make a better cut of Gangs of New York.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as they're like going directly to like you can like buy them someplace,
right?
That's one thing because that's just the director's cut.
That's just the
We've
director's
seen that, but like
I've seen 3 different versions of Highlander.
If you're doing like a
redux
or like a re-release or like, you know, I a theatrical release of my recut movie, it's like that's where we're gonna get into trouble.
But we've gotten a couple of those, but they're mostly like kind of like fandom, whatever they're called. Yeah, what the hell am I thinking of? You know, the Fathom events. Fathom events, thank you.
Yeah, but I'm talking like theater.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that like studios don't do that. Like for me, I'm like, why would you remake The Karate Kid? Just put like the year of the movie's release instead of present day. Yeah. And then just re-release the movie, clean it up, make it look good, and then just release it in theaters. Like, you just make your money back. Don't turn it into a Fathom event, just as a, like, you know, for the 30th anniversary, you know, get the cast who's alive, put them on a press tour. If you're just gonna be that greedy and want to have money, like, and get money from a movie you've already made, just release the movie, save yourself a boatload of cash.
Right.
Take a percentage of the movie your money you would have put into producing a movie nobody's gonna see, like that awful Karate Kid reboot, and just put it into the marketing for re-releasing it. You know? Anyway, so there's let's talk about Cyborg, because that's the biggest change.
Well, I'd say Cyborg and Flash. They both of their origin stories were kind of trimmed out of this. I mean, the fact is, it's like there's a couple of issues here.
Yes.
One, DC was trying to take a shortcut in the first place to getting to their big team up movie.
Exactly.
And so instead of just letting Flash and Cyborg have a movie where they could be introduced, they wanted to put it in. They're going to throw it into this film and then go from there.
Yes.
That's like problem number one, because you're already trying to do a team up movie.
Yeah, you're doing a team up movie,
which is already going to be longer.
It's going to be longer. And then you're going to have more cast, and you want to see these interactions, and you're trying to introduce whole new characters who are also supposed to be like 1/7 of your movie.
Right. And so like that's a problem, like that you like anyone thought that you could do a good job of introducing 2 characters into a film in a 2.5-hour runtime. Yeah. While also having the big movie happen as well. Right. And like have it have any sort of meaning whatsoever. Yeah. So like mistakes are made.
That's an understatement, and yes.
Yeah, no, it's a definite understatement.
It's a joke, yes.
Yeah, I'm joking about that.
But not untrue.
No, but like, so cut to, we have 4 hours now.
So we can put everything in
We can put everything in it. I will say, I still wish they had their own films for introduction. Because I'm not comparing the 2 portrayals at all, but like, I couldn't help but think about Cyborg from Doom Patrol, who has episodes and episodes and episodes to develop a character.
Yes.
And so there's like time to unfold and unpack certain things. And I still feel like there wasn't enough time for either of these characters to really unfold and unpack like the other characters they were teamed up with.
I agree. We get enough. I think Cyborg gets obviously the most robust development.
Sure.
Flash, you don't need much for what they want you to get out of Barry Allen in this movie. Mm-hmm. All you need is his interaction with his father. You get one scene. Mm-hmm. That's really all you need in order to get who Barry Allen is in this movie.
Mm.
No,
it's true, but like
with Cyborg, clearly Snyder had kind of ideas and designs for what role Cyborg is playing in this movie.
Yeah, and so like I would have thought there would have been a little more screen time devoted.
Yeah, and I mean, disproportionately speaking, like the Whedon cut versus the Snyder cut.
Oh, there's definitely more.
There's
but
more.
I meant even more than that.
Right. Well, and the fact is, after a while, when does this go from being a Justice League movie to a Cyborg movie if you're going to dedicate enough time to really develop Cyborg as a character? Mm-hmm. But I think you do get enough.
Sure.
You get more than enough, honestly, mm-hmm. because you just need one slow-mo sequence of him playing football. He's an athlete. This is how he defines himself. You see his interaction with his mother and his father. Mm-hmm. You see his resentment of his father, which we didn't get in the original cut. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of interesting things, and you get who Vic is.
Yes, absolutely. I do think though that like we do get scenes between he and his father. Mm-hmm. I still felt like the development of that relationship was rushed, and that's where I was like, "This is the movie.
Right.
This is the solo movie.
This is the movie.
This is the solo movie that we should have had.
Right? Yeah. This is the Cyborg movie. Yeah.
And it like instead, it's like, okay, we need these scenes because they're going to be very important later on, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we need to have them, and that's great. But like, I was like, it's just.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But way more than we got, obviously.
Than the last one.
Well,
you got nothing. I mean, the reality is nothing. Cyborg is in the movie. Yeah. He has a dad who is a linchpin to certain sequences having to happen.
Yeah.
And they're just doing fine.
Yeah.
In relationship, like they're just happy because that's the Whedon cut.
Yeah.
In the Snyder cut, like there is some true, definite, like real stuff in there.
Yes.
Like Victor's. His unreasonable like rationale, his behavior to his father, solid stuff, genuine stuff. His dad, like, and you get like from his decisions and actions at Star Labs to the fake virus attack where he reacts, where he's like, no. Like, you think of it, the building's on fire, he's still going to dedicate himself to his work.
Yeah.
And that's how Victor felt. Like, you were like that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And, maybe, in a movie, you would have gotten less lip service as opposed to, like, actually seeing it where he's like, I love you, and I want to go to your football games. And it's like, I don't really see any of that. Like,
right. Well, we would have seen him, like...
But he does kill himself to freaking help out.
Yeah, no, he does.
And that's cool.
That is very cool. I just think that we would have seen... I mean, they would have probably spaced out a little bit more of the origin stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it would have been him coming into his own, which we do get to see here. But there's like a line that he has where he's like, I'm not broken. And I love that line. But I love that line more because I knew about Cyborg. Yes, because you had the context from the Teen Titans cartoon show and the Doom Patrol show. Doom Patrol, comics, anything like that. Like, I had a little more context. And so like that line, I was like, ooh, that's a solid line. It's a good line. But like, I felt like it needed a little more room to breathe. Yeah. Yeah, I agree in terms of Cyborg. Like it was so apropos of the character. It was very well portrayed, and I don't know if it was earned in this movie. I think it could have been. Yeah, I think so because I think there was room. It's just that also the movie's friggin' 4 hours long. It's not a movie. And you know what the reality is, like, maybe, and I can imagine if this movie was 2.5 hours long and we cut a lot of other stuff, or if it was a Cyborg movie, the executives or the producer or even Snyder just going like, we need to earn that more. We need another scene. Mm-hmm. We need just another scene of him like feeling broken. Yeah. And needing to realize that he's actually better. Yeah. That would have been cool. Ultimately, I think Ray Fisher as an actor, I've literally never seen him in anything else. Like, I've literally never seen him on any other show or movie. So I can't compare his role or his portrayal to anything he's done. I'll be honest, I haven't, like, other than, like, I'm like Gal Gadot. I'm like... No. Right, yeah. I didn't, yeah. And, like, honestly, with Henry Cavill... I didn't know him
until Superman.
And then after that, I saw him as The Witcher. So I'm like, well, now that's technically not true. There's Ben Affleck.
Yes.
So it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
and Ezra Miller, I'd never seen him in anything.
Most of the time, I'm unfamiliar with a lot of actors, and I'm just bad at it, honestly. I'm bad at recognizing actors in other things. It's just, I don't know why my brain won't do it, but it won't do it.
Right.
That said, I really do like the actor who I never can remember the name of, or any actors' names, honestly, who plays Silas. But
love him to
Miles
death. Dyson.
Love him to death, but I can't help but think about Skynet.
They want you to think. Well, that's that's called shortcutting.
I guess. He was in Eureka.
Yeah, he's great. He played Miles Dyson.
And I was like, this guy can do more.
Yeah, he's a good actor. He could be in other things.
Yes,
and he has been in other things.
But and I'm glad he was there because he has what I like about him in terms of his character too is that he has such a warm voice, and he's playing such a cold, unfeeling kind of person who can't express his emotions. And I'm like, that's kind of a cool
dichotomy there.
Yeah.
Joe Morton, by the way.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
But ultimately, I wasn't a big fan of Ray Fisher's portrayal. I thought he did as good a job as he was capable.
Yeah.
But
I personally, I felt like it was not his portrayal as much as it was the script.
That's fair.
I didn't think he was given a lot to work with, except that last line.
That last line's good.
There was a couple of moments where I was like, oh, okay, they're giving him something here that he can really sink his teeth into. But I didn't feel like a lot of the script gave him an opportunity to stretch his acting capabilities. Yeah,
no, that's true. And he is playing a robot. So it's it's supposed to be, I think, a little wooden or robotic.
Right. But and again, maybe this is just me. I don't know. Maybe this is just my idea of who Cyborg is. But Cyborg at its core is about a guy who's a guy.
Yeah.
Who becomes a robot.
Right.
And it's that struggle of understanding when do I cease being a man?
Right. Yeah.
And
he does, I think,
but
there is a journey in there.
Right.
There's it's in there. It's underneath.
That said, his design gives him way more robot to man.
Yeah.
And so I feel that could have been really played up. And again, that's what I'm saying. There wasn't
there wasn't
a lot there. I didn't think there was enough there.
Yeah. That's a movie. As opposed to whatever this was. That's the Cyborg movie. That's what you get in that.
Yeah.
Which we're never gonna get. That's over.
Yeah.
I liked Flash. The Iris sequence was fun and cool. But again, it didn't change or add anything to me. I was just oh, that's a fun scene. It was just, and that's really all you need. But the true Flash stuff for me was later, was the powers. And and the exploitation thereof.
And and again, I could again, we're comic book fans. We all of us in this chat,
we all know
we're comic book fans. We knew that was feasible. I was trying to imagine anyone who's just watching this film who was
being
just
what do you mean time?
What do you mean time?
But also, that's cool.
It is cool, but that's one of those things where it's maybe we need a little more.
I didn't need anything, but I also didn't need it in shorthand because we didn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was I think that we just needed a line. I think a throwaway line of him being when I go that fast, things get weird, with time and
He
stuff.
does say something like that.
He does. You have that line. No, I'm saying and I think that's all you need.
Yeah.
I think that that set it up. Because once he says it, they're going to do it.
Right.
And so I dug that. And of course, then him being more effective, his sequence in the underground fight, the Steppenwolf fight part 1, where Flash is actually useful and interesting and doing stuff, and as opposed to him being afraid all the time and and saving one person. By the way, it's funny how Whedon is that scene. I rewatched that sequence where Batman's just save one person, and I'm that's a cool that's a comic book moment. Doesn't work in this movie. No character in this movie would say that, and it was very phony.
Yes, but it was also I did like that moment. I mean
I got it.
Yeah.
But it was also just it does at no place in this movie, and in the new version, Flash just does, and so I think he gets more agency,
sure.
As opposed to him being kind of the noob.
Yes, and that's why for me again, I wish he'd had a little more time to develop because he does. I mean, we do see him save Iris.
Yes. Which is something that he, I guess, hadn't done before. He doesn't save people normally, or he does, but it's he's usually keeping it under wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, there is nothing in, like, we get better use of his powers, and he is more essential to the driving action and plot of the movie, which is an improvement.
No, both of the characters, like both
Cyborg and Flash benefit 100% from this cut. This cut that, like, you know, you'd have to dedicate half your day to watching.
Yes.
But, you know, I see a lot of these clips appearing on YouTube in the near future.
For sure.
Okay, so Steppenwolf.
Okay.
The redesign is better. Like, I think Steppenwolf might have been from 2017. Steppenwolf was easily one of the worst comic book supervillains ever brought to celluloid. Like, just the worst. Just he had no motivation. He looked like a prefab action figure. Like, this is the prototype. Yeah. This is the sculpt. It's not painted yet. And like, put it out like that.
Yeah. Yes. No,
he looked like shit. He had no motivation. I hate that actor. I really do, and I'm sorry. I don't know everybody likes that guy, but he sounds like an old man with big jowls. It's like, no, he doesn't look like that. But you know, this overall, you know, apples and oranges in terms of character motivation and just in general, just like as a character.
Let's talk about how we were talking about earlier about the forgettableness of it. I couldn't have told you what he looked like before.
Yeah, I only have like a vague outline.
I literally looked it up. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, whatever.
Right. I will never forget what he looks like.
I'm sorry. I just don't like. I get it. It's supposed to. It's like, you know, it's from Apocalypse, and like, you know, Apocalypse is pain.
Is
and
it
like
pretty? Like,
I mean,
no.
I just they spent a lot of time animating that suit.
They did a lot of work went into that suit.
I really didn't need them to do that.
No.
That's just me. Yeah. That's a subjective, completely subjective review of that. I didn't need any of it.
No,
I was like, I just.
No, but at the end of the day, like, what do you even do with Steppenwolf? Like, and it's really just nothing.
Here, once we learned about what his motivation was, first of all, I could not help but think of Zuko from Avatar.
Absolutely.
That was number one. And then secondly, I was like, damn, why isn't this Calabac?
Right. Yeah, Calabac, solid design. We know what to do with him.
Damn.
You can get a really fun actor to play him. You could just go back and just get Michael Dorn.
Damn. Like, that was it. But I was like, you know what? Hey, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
This is a recut of a movie.
Right.
Let's go in.
Right. You can't replace it.
We're not replacing it.
You could have replaced him, but like, it would have cost like another $20 million.
Meanwhile, I was like,
yeah,
Calabac. I want a Calabac.
Yeah. But since it is basically Calabac, but a Steppenwolf, you know, his motivation makes sense. It works great. It's actually, it's way better. Now, obviously, like, and I wonder if...
He has motivation.
He has
period.
End of story.
That's immediately...
It's better
like,
because
okay,
it
cool,
exists.
Thank you. You have a reason to be here.
Right. Yeah. So it's an improvement. You know, ultimately, is his costume better? Theoretically, objectively speaking, I guess it is better. It is a decision. It is an idea, as opposed to like nothing, which is what the last one was.
Yeah.
It was just an afterthought.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious when we see the scene where he has half of it off.
I was like, oh, this is so much better. Don't put it back on.
But he also, like, he looks really weird.
He does look weird.
Like, you look weird.
I'd rather take...
You're all pink?
I would have weird.
Yeah.
I would take weird. That was my opinion, though. Yeah. I would take weird over
your shiny...
constant, like, flexy bits.
But it does stuff. You know, it's like a Decepticon. Like, pieces come off and they go in your head and they take your mind.
Pieces go, like, but like sometimes it felt like, I know it wasn't, but sometimes it felt like it was happening for his emotions. Like,
yes. Yeah. When he's upset, it gets real. Yeah, he's like a cat.
It's like, stop.
Yeah. Somebody reminded me about like how I really liked Desaad, even though he's just New 52 Desaad in terms of like, when I was growing up, Desaad was a guy who gave Darkseid shit, and you were like, why is Darkseid putting up with this guy?
Why?
This like this meek little dude.
Yeah.
It's just like, who, from all I could tell, is just an earthling wearing a pink bathrobe. Like, yes. I love Desaad because it's just like, I love Desaad because he's so emblematic of like Kirby creations, where Kirby's like, unapologetically, pink like dude in pink bathrobe, weighs 80 pounds. You know, who's next? Oh, Glorious Godfrey. Yo, let me tell you something about Dr. Bedlam. Like, okay. And I love how unapologetically for like the last, like for 40 years, DC's like, and they just look like this.
Yep.
Will introduce like Aztec and other like crazy looking designed like characters for the new millennia, and also the Kirby creations. And I kind of like, I feel a little bad whenever they're like, we're gonna make Darkseid look like a badass and give him crazy armor. I'm like, his skin's the armor. He wears a tunic.
Yeah.
He's great Dr. Doom. He doesn't need anything.
Yeah.
His armor is the skin. He's made of rocks or whatever,
Yeah. He's a new god.
He's a new god. He can't die. But this Desaad, he is just an avatar for the Snyderverse. Like, yeah, he's dark, he's scary, he's got a crazy voice, he's a badass too. I actually really like. There was universe building in this movie where like they used the thing from Chernobyl to like make the phone, and it like comes out of the block, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Desaad."
No, it's not that. It's where they put the blocks.
Yeah. But
that's where they're gonna put the cubes.
Oh, I know, but he's also talks through it like a phone.
I assumed that was theirs. I assumed he brought that.
Yeah, I think so too. But I thought it was a piece of like the whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
But it reminded me of the way that they like show TV and communications on Krypton in Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, hey,
okay,
that's how people in space use their shit. They have 3D printers or whatever, and they use like what's that liquid metal stuff? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like they, it moves, and yeah, cool. That was like a real moment for me where I genuinely was like, wow, world building. That's consistent. But I love the conversation. But anyway, but Steppenwolf constantly here. Let me.
He just
the third time it happened where I'm like, let me guess what happens here. Steppenwolf calls Desaad. Desaad tells him to fuck off until he gets the boxes, and then he does. But also that's like a trope in movies, and I'm like, this is a movie, like that's happening.
I guess it's a trope in movies. It's just
ferrofluid. Thank you. That's it. It was ferrofluid.
There you go. It just seemed like those were moments where I was like, this is time wasting.
Yeah,
you're wasting time.
You're wasting time right now. This is 4 hours. But that's the thing, is that I can't wait. I've literally, when around like the 3 hour 45 minute mark, I was like, I could cut this. Like I could cut this down. But,
there were moments,
but I can't wait to see, because I know there's gonna be a fan cut where it's like, here is the blockbuster version of the Snyder Cut, where it's like, this is the movie, like where you cut it like a Hollywood editor. And I don't mean like a hacky Hollywood editor. I just mean like one who is there to cut the movie to a releasable length.
Right.
And be like, here it is. Here's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Like, here's what Snyder's vision would have been as a Hollywood blockbuster, as opposed to Snyder's vision.
Yeah, honestly,
made for a home release.
The checking in with Desaad scenes to me gave it that not movie feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd see that a lot in like episodes of a show.
Yeah.
Where it was like, after a couple of episodes, they need to check in again.
Right.
Like, obviously, because like time has passed,
Yeah.
or like maybe you don't remember that happening. And so like that to me kind of pulled me out of that cinematic feel occasionally. But I was like, why? You know what he's going to say.
Right. He's just going to tell you to go get the boxes.
It's not like the parademons are egging you on, man.
He's like, I got a box. I'll call Desaad. I got the second box. I know that when I got the first box, he said, call me at 3, but I'm going to call him at 2 and see what's up. And it's like, you could cut a couple of those.
Yes.
But of course, then they like turn it on its ear when he finds the anti-life equation, which, okay. A works because it's Darkseid. B, sure. At least it justifies Darkseid wanting to be there.
Sure. I mean, I feel like I feel like Darkseid was just gonna like punch you in the face for finding it before he did.
Yeah, my Darkseid would have been mad. Would have been petty and mad that you found it first. But maybe he would have done that later.
Right,
it's like, okay, you found it, Omega Beams. Darkseid. What'd you think of Darkseid?
So like, I struggle with this one because it's like it checks a lot of boxes for me in terms of design. Mm-hmm. But there's something categorically off.
Yeah, he's thin.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I couldn't quite figure it out. He's too thin, and I honestly felt now that.
Hang on.
Hey, come here, buddy.
Let me get his head though. I don't want him to fall down.
Oh yeah. Take his.
This is Omega Beam head.
Take his Omega Beam head. Yes. No. He's swole.
Yeah.
This man works out.
Yeah.
He doesn't skip leg day.
He doesn't skip any day.
He doesn't skip any of the days. I also felt like, listen, his cowl is always high.
Yeah.
But like there was something about the way in which the forehead laid. There was just something weird about the head.
Well, it's funny because it was like simultaneously comic accurate and also like weird.
Yeah, it was like the Uncanny Valley.
It was Uncanny Valley of Darkseid. He's thin. He's got the Omega like logo like etched into his chest, which arguably for me like it gave him like it made him like a sunken in chest. It made him like look a little weaker.
I get, yeah, I could see that.
Listen. was it cool that Darkseid's in the movie? Actually, that scene where Diana goes into like the bowels of wherever and finds the like, I'm like, yep, that's fine.
Was it the Parthenon?
I think it was the Parthenon.
I don't know.
By the way, almost that scene. We reviewed Wonder Woman 84, and there was a sequence that absolutely should have happened.
And we pitched
that we just made up, and I was like, "Oh, it's happening!
Yeah, here it is.
This is a scene."
Yeah.
But anyway, But I like the setup, and I like the implications of Darkseid. Like, I like them being like, "This is a bigger problem," and I'm like, "Yes," because Steppenwolf sucks, and he's like not a big problem.
Yeah.
And I liked when they reintroduced Superman, and they're just like, once Superman does show up, and it's like, "Yeah, it is no problem." And I'm like, that's kind of cool, and also kind of, indicative of Snyder and the Snyder fandom's interpretation of Superman, which is like, Superman should be freaking awesome and just like rip everything apart. Like, he's just, when he shows up, the fight should just be over because Goku.
Yeah.
Like where it's like, okay, I don't find that interesting. Like, his limitations are with his own morality, whatever. But anyway, but like, yes, when Steppenwolf's like, maybe I got a shot here, and then Superman's like, no, you don't.
No,
it's
you don't.
over, and it's like, oh, it is over. Yeah, because and also Steppenwolf sucks, and it's like, I want him to see his ass handed to him.
Mm-hmm.
Apropos of that, fun scene of Aquaman and Wonder Woman fighting Steppenwolf together, and that being set up with one line.
Yeah,
I wish it had been a little bit more, but like still one line where it was like, because it's. The idea of Atlantis and Themyscira being like war.
I do like that. Admittedly speaking, I liked it when she faced him alone.
Yeah.
But that was me.
Yeah.
That's a subjective opinion.
Well, that's the thing is that...
Very subjective opinion.
There was room for both. There was room for all of it. It could have been fun to see like everyone fight Steppenwolf at some point. Like Flash being like, let me try this.
Yeah.
And then, like being kicked at, like picked up, scooped up by a parademon and taken away so he can't help Diana fight Steppenwolf. And then like Arthur showing up. And being like, let me help, let me pitch in, like, but you get to see that scene of them.
No, narratively speaking, this makes more sense.
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah.
There it is.
But I liked that scene, but I was like, oh man, like, I like the implication of there being like this kind of like, these two outcasts from their respective societies who both hate their respective societies, who don't care, have no stake in their societies, who like kind of almost Romeo and Juliet-esquely like, team up to fight their mutual foe, and I'm like, that's kind of fun in like no good narrative way. It's just kind of like fun to see them like being like, look at how we are getting along even though we have no reason not to. And I'm like, yeah, that is fun.
Yeah, I will say this cut still lacked that component for me. Like,
yeah, like the
Batman's like, I gotta bring everyone together, and like the biggest stepping stone is literally getting them into the meeting hall. I know it's very tropey, but like I don't mind the trope of watching a bunch of people who usually fight solo not knowing how to work with others.
Yes, and
because
that was
would
a
make
big
sense.
thing. You
put anyone in a room together who's used to working on their own and then tell them, hey, you have to get working on this project together.
Right.
It's going to be a disaster for a little bit.
Yeah, when you have too many leaders in one room, it's going to be an issue.
It's going to be an issue for a little bit, and then everybody's going to be like, okay,
right,
we need to figure this out. And so like again, like I don't mind. That would have been a little tropey. I just kind of missed that. I know the underground fight scene is kind of supposed to be
it's supposed to be like that, but it's like,
it doesn't really come across enough for me there.
No. Also, I still don't like that bat crab.
Yeah, the bat crab.
It's just it's too bulky. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't contribute to the fight. I'm just like, it's just a cool action figure.
Yeah.
And that they didn't make. Just kind of like, eh. Yeah. But, Aquaman, his introduction, because remember, this movie was supposed to come out before his movie.
Yes.
So it was introducing Aquaman. Mm-hmm. This is the new setup, which is funny because it's like a reintroduction of Aquaman, and we've already seen the movie now.
Yes.
But it is reintroducing him, and so we get like, British Mera and longer-haired Volko.
And singing ladies.
More singing ladies.
Singing ladies who smell a shirt.
Yeah, 100% more singing-smelling ladies.
Singing ladies, I was like, this is fine. Like, I was like, it's like
it started out fine.
That was fine. And then when she picked up the shirt, that I was like, okay. What?
Well, they all want to bang him because he's so hot. I mean, like, first they worship him, and then it's like, but also he's here, and I can totally still do him.
But wouldn't it? Maybe it doesn't smell.
It should
like
reek.
The sea. Like,
it should definitely reek. There's no question. Whether it's like,
They needed it, by the way, and this is not a critique. This is just like a funny thing I noticed. I was like, they needed a counter for the times that Arthur Curry took off his shirt.
I think it's 4.
Where does he keep getting these shirts?
Yeah, who's giving him these shirts? Probably the ladies.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. They're taking the shirt back. They're going to have it laundered. And they're going to give him a new shirt.
Yeah.
There's 2 introductions to Aquaman. There's literally 2 scenes, and that's where it's like, okay, you're just putting in every scene you shot into one movie. Because we introduce Aquaman. Bruce Wayne shows up. He meets Aquaman. We get it. He's like, and we tell, don't show, where he's like, you help people when they need it, and you show up and blah, and you don't ask for anything in return. You go into the ocean.
He's like, you're a hero. It's check.
Yeah, you're Aquaman. And then Aquaman does the things that Batman describes that he does, and it's like, okay, one or the other. You know, you just have him. You just show Aquaman, and then you have him go back to Alfred and go like, it is. So he said no. Either way. But I loved both of them. I liked both scenes. They're fun. But with both scenes, you're like, I mean, I already know who that is. I miss the White Stripes song. You know, it's more orchestra. Yes. You know, it's like, oh, Aquaman. But for me, I'm like, yeah, no, Aquaman's like just drums and guitar. And he walks out on that pier and the water's like, and he's just like, that's right.
Yeah, there was a lot more vocal music in this than I was anticipating.
Certainly. 100% more.
100% more.
Even where it didn't belong. Like in Wonder Woman's theme.
That I was like, I mean, I get it there for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I like her theme a lot.
I like it without all the extra stuff.
Like, I like her theme just as it is. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I get that.
I get that too. More Alfred. He's fun.
Yes. And I don't know, this was a pitch I made while we were watching the film, and it was one of those things where I was like, oh, are they going to do this? Because, like, inevitably everyone ends up back at the Batcave where I originally thought they were, but they weren't.
No, because apparently Alfred was not there.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Me too. He's like, this is Alfred. I'm like, I know. We know.
But, like, I guess Bruce was just going back and forth between the two places. You trust them, your team that you're trying desperately to put together.
Yep.
You didn't trust them. So he brings them there, and I was like, oh, damn. Either Batman or Alfred is going to talk to Cyborg about relationships,
about fathership,
about like it's hard on both sides.
Yes, because Alfred would know.
Yeah, and like it doesn't. And like I was like, damn,
we missed that opportunity.
Yeah.
No, instead Alfred lectures Wonder Woman on tea, which I did enjoy, but I didn't understand that scene. Because I was like, Wonder Woman's like 5,000 years old or whatever. Like, she should know how to make tea.
Well, but she doesn't take it.
Is she bad at it? Or is, like, you know what I mean?
Like, British, you see.
Well, yes. But for me, I was like, was she humoring him? Or is he actually better at it than her?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Well, like, it's a fun scene.
He thought she was doing it wrong.
Then he was right. The Gordon scene is 100% unchanged. I love that Whedon was like, I am not changing a thing about the Gordon stuff.
Yeah.
and yet...
I will say though, like this is one of those moments where again, because we've had this like space out between like this.
Yes.
Now because he was back at being
he's Jonah
another
again.
Character.
Yeah.
I was like, that's all I could see.
Yeah.
And that's just he's a very distinct look.
He does.
He has such a distinct voice.
Yeah, but he has that mustache.
He does have the. Yes.
Jonah had the mustache, but he had no.
It's a different.
Gordon's
mustache.
got a bigger mustache.
I
know. I think. Spider, like the new Spider, the MCU Jonah Jameson has no mustache. So,
right.
Or hair. I don't remember. I know he's bald. Anyway, I like it. I wish I could have seen the Batman movie that Snyder obviously wanted to make with that Gordon in it, so that he could have done anything as Gordon. Like we got a couple scenes. We had that moment that you made fun of that I love, where the cop talks to Gordon and he's like, yeah, I'll go talk to him.
Yeah. Oh, that was right. Yeah.
And the guy goes, how you gonna call him? And he goes like, and I don't remember what he says.
He said something,
like guess or whatever, but like.
But I was like, okay, wait, didn't Batman just say he's been fighting crime for like 20, 25 years?
Yeah, it's like 20 years he's been doing this. I think you know. There's a beam in the sky you've seen since you were born.
Maybe that guy got hit in the head.
Right. I mean, it is conceivable.
It is
in
Gotham.
Gotham.
So.
Yeah.
He got bonked on the head by Harley.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe she hit him with that beanbag gun from Birds of Prey in the face.
But like,
either way,
that was so like I was like, what do you mean how? You know how? You know how?
You know how? You're here. You're in the. By the way, I don't know why. I loved the look of the GCPD headquarters.
Yeah, it was grimy.
Yeah.
It was exactly what Gotham, like, Gotham always has a layer of film.
It was, for me, it's what the show Gotham was going for.
It was all, it had like an old-timey feel to it. Like, they clearly haven't gotten an update. They don't have enough funding.
Yeah, yeah.
Papers flying.
Mm-hmm. It reminded me of, in Catch Me If You Can, there's a scene of the FBI headquarters. And apparently, they had like an FBI, like, liaison. Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is crazy how accurate this is. Like, it brought me right back to work. Mm-hmm. And I like that authenticity. She's like, yeah. GCPD looked great.
Yes.
Gordon, I think I was like, listen, I would have cast J.K. Simmons too. If I had the option of getting J.K. Simmons in my movie, I would have cast him.
I would have cast, what's his name?
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Duh.
That said,
but
I'm excited for the new.
For the new Batman.
No, the new Alfred.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Batman.
Or not Alfred. Sorry, people say Alfred,
Gordon.
My brain was reading that.
The new Gordon. Yeah.
I think
the new Gordon's
phenomenal.
Great. I'm excited. He's cool.
But so we're just talking about like little like jokey
we didn't talk
things.
About Superman, but
Here,
yeah,
we will absolutely. Just little like moments that I was like, why did you do this? It was just so random.
Yes.
But like at the beginning with Wonder Woman and like at the bank with the kids and
yes.
There's like a sequence there where like the dudes show up, they're taking over the bank, and like someone must have just been carrying a ream or two of paper because they're just like
throwing paper everywhere they went. Paper exploded.
But it was like a lot.
It was insistent.
Like, in this modern world, that's a lot of paper.
Yeah. In this digital world, somebody was when he outside there was paper. He went up the stairs, there was paper. He went through the room, there was paper. And listen, it created an atmosphere.
Sure.
And I think it's one of those things where it's like, listen, what do you mean? You're gonna watch a John Woo movie and be like, where are these birds coming from?
I am.
And it's like,
but I am gonna do that. But like it was just so. Like I was like, yeah, okay,
right,
sure,
but it's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I always laugh. Like I liked the Wonder Woman scene where we reintroduce her and she's like a badass and saving people. When she's like doing the bracer thing so fast, I just think it's really silly.
It was not. I don't know. I feel like she would have just taken him down.
Right. Or thrown her tiara or something.
But
that was the first hour. And so if we want to talk a little bit about criticisms, I want to say like the first hour is a slog. And when I say a slog, I mean like it's very self-indulgent. It's very slow. It doesn't really indicate what the rest of the movie is going to feel like. And as it reintroduces every hero or introduces them, everyone gets a slow-mo sequence. And it's like, again, I think that harkens back to what we said about like Snyder referencing himself. Because like not every sequence needed a slow-mo sequence, and not every slow-mo sequence looked as good as it had 10 years ago. And it's like, like I had a little bit of issue with that. I remember like, a couple of us in the room after like the first 30 minutes being like, it's got to be like an hour and a half, and it's been only 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, like in movies, in comics, I'd like a slow burn sometimes.
Me
like,
too.
I'm down for that. Like you know me. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, it's only gonna get crazier from here.
And I'm okay with it usually, but it has to be a slow burn that's well paced, and that's what I was missing. It wasn't. I don't know. There was something about the pacing or just the tightness of it. I don't know. Like
that's why it's not really a movie, because like a movie, like if you're shooting it or cutting it for movie, for a runtime that is theatrical oriented,
yes.
You lose that.
Yes.
Or it's just a badly edited movie. But this isn't a movie. This is something else. So it's like, you can do that. But as a result, you get a really, not clunky, but like sluggish hour.
It was. It really, really was.
And I can't even really speak to why. Because I saw the opening of 2017's Justice League recently, and this is better.
Yeah.
And the other one had like, everyone mourning and stuff. I'm like, whatever. But it still felt like a slog. But, that was one criticism I can lob at it.
Yeah, no. And again, like I think it has to do with the pacing. There was a significant change too, like,
Oh, yeah.
This one has like the death scream.
The death scream.
At the beginning.
Yeah, the death scream is silly. I appreciate it. I get it. And you could have done like a thing. He screams, you show and I'm not a hack. Like I'm a hack, and I'm not like a movie producer or anything like that. But like, just had an image of like Superman screams, and like you do the wave. But I felt like the wave was a little much.
Well,
but you cut to Apocalypse, and Darkseid just goes, like that's all you needed.
Yeah, but in this, it was
it wakes up the mother box.
It wakes them up because they're a pair. Okay, so this is where I was like,
what?
Like this is world building, but
yeah,
I didn't think it was.
I don't think it was. And I don't think it was explained properly.
Right, where it's like the mother boxes, which have been here for a very long time.
Yeah, like for like thousands of years.
For a very long time, had been kept away.
Right, from Darkseid.
And supposedly they refused to wake themselves up until after Superman was dead.
Right.
Who wasn't even there.
Yes. So for 4,970 years.
Yeah.
They were dormant.
Yeah.
Then 30 years go by, and they're like, oh, we should definitely be dormant still. And then Superman dies, and then they wake up.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
It's just it's a weird kind of like almost fan explanation. Like,
yeah, and so like maybe like, and again, this might be one of those things where it's like you need to put in your own leaps and bounds to get to reasons. Like maybe it's the power that he released. Maybe it's something to do with Kryptonian
whatever the hell.
It's like
his scream was on a frequency that was the same communication the mother boxes do.
Right, but that's just like that's
what you suggested.
Oh, what did I suggest?
A narrator.
Oh yeah,
like Galadriel.
Yeah, I'm like
for 5,000 years, the mother box lay dormant until the death of Superman.
It's a little tropey, but for a movie this long, I thought it was okay if they had that. Now, Wonder Woman takes a shot at it later on. Yeah. But like, I thought it might be okay if we had like some other.
Well, and like the movie, the thing warrants it because like it already wants to be grand and epic and spoke. So you already didn't make it widescreen. Why not hire some fun voiced actor?
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna pick one. I'm just gonna say like it would have been fun, to get like a narrator to kind of like fill in the gaps or explain some stuff.
Yeah.
Where otherwise, because like if you're to believe that he literally picked like the IMAX or whatever format just so the heroes look bigger, then add that like kind of orator element, like in 300. If you're gonna rip off your own like slow-mo FX from 300, put the narrator in there.
Put the narrator
and
in
get Faramir back.
Yeah,
have
why
him
not?
do it.
What's he doing?
Right? Nothing. That's what. He's not coming back for Iron Fist, I'll tell you that. But hell, that would have been a fun addition. You know what? Maybe in like a couple years when we get the 10-year anniversary of the Snyder Cut, he'll add an narrator.
Yeah,
But yeah, like but the Sonic Scream, like is it? And what sucks is because I liked the idea behind the cell phone interview from the Whedon cut, where it's like kids interacting with Superman and like not being afraid to talk to him, and Superman being like, and I like that moment.
But yeah, that was just not.
It just looked horrible, and don't put
just don't do it.
And
then.
if we're gonna complain about 4:3 aspect ratio, vertical video in a cinema does not work.
Nope.
Vertical cell phone video does not work. But the Sonic screen, I was like, this is a little silly.
It was a little silly. And that was a moment for me where I was like, this slow-mo's really going on.
Let's tighten up the pace a little bit. Come on.
Yeah.
We got to get going.
And again, from a guy who I know can use it really, really well.
Yes.
In 300.
Yeah.
For example, when he was referencing those films. Anyway, okay, can I make one little jab?
Please.
Folks, I'm sorry. Don't leave. Just let me just make a little jab at another film that he made. I just feel like don't put a lot of emphasis on the Amazons using spears if you then don't let Wonder Woman use the kryptonite spear
on Doomsday
to kill Doomsday.
Yeah, it's just.
I was like, look at them.
Look at them all using their spears. And man, Diana must be so good at spear wielding. She's probably had like 4,000 years worth of practice.
Let's just go. That's just a little jab. We're done. Moving on.
Or Batman, who's a tactician who who's mastered every weapon known to man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to talk about a couple of things. We definitely need to talk about Superman coming back.
Yeah.
We need to talk about an addition.
Oh yes,
a whole character addition.
Whole new character.
Which was, I honestly was I was disappointed. I liked this character quite a bit. I was kind of disappointed with his inclusion. I didn't think he was going to be like part of the fight.
No, I didn't expect him to show up at the end
at all.
Yeah, I knew.
I also thought Green Lantern was going to be in this, and I thought it was going to be John Stewart.
Stuff. Yeah, I had heard,
which was something that is right. Like hits me right in my heart because it's like he is my Green Lantern. He is my favorite Green Lantern. When you grow up watching Justice League animated cartoon, that's your Green Lantern.
That's your Green Lantern.
And you're like, I don't know who the hell Hal Jordan is, but get him right the hell out.
Right, exactly.
So like that was disappointing, but like Martian Manhunter was in it technically. I just
I liked actually his scene with Lois was the only scene, it might not have been as problematic for me because it actually solves an issue I had with the original cut, which was like, so Lois flies to Metropolis, she talks to, Ma flies to Metropolis to talk to Lois, then gets back on a plane and goes back to Kansas so that she can clandestinely bump into Clark after he's resurrected. No. But then it's like, no, she never left Kansas.
Right.
She got into her car, she foreclosed a bunch, she moved into an apartment. Yeah. And we know this because Jean has mental powers and I guess stole her memories.
You can find that out. Yeah. I guess him being in there felt sort of
tacked on,
especially because it was like
Snyder
established early on that she goes to that memorial every day.
Right.
She's already there.
Yeah. Right.
Like, he already established she brings the coffee every day. Cop goes, you never miss a day, do you?
Yeah. So we don't need a scene of a character saying, go to the memorial.
So maybe she's not up at the right hour.
Yeah.
But, like, I was like, she's already going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know you wanted to put him in this. Mm-hmm. Also, why didn't you come help then?
Right. Yeah. Also...
Like, if you had just shown up, and like Martian Manhunter saw like news reports or whatever, like Sean Jones is like somehow watching TV and he hears about what these heroes did.
Yep.
He's like,
okay, I'm
all
on.
right, I could help, and maybe they'll accept me.
Right, maybe they'll accept me this time. Yeah, that would've been cool.
Like, but like this, I was like,
why did you do? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Also, I'm not a really big fan of the design.
Neither am I.
I think the Martian Manhunter design from the comics, from the cartoon, fine.
I get the issue though, is that like Martian Manhunter is a lot of bold, bright colors, and it probably wouldn't, honestly. And I'm not trying to critique his film. I just know it wouldn't fit in that universe, and so you need to tone it down.
Yeah.
But like
it's weird how bright he is in this movie, despite how not bright everything else is.
I don't know. There was just something about the overall design that I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was like the additions of like, they added like some textures here and there, or if it was the suit.
Yeah, because it looked like, because he had the big buttons and the X, and it just like was, it looked like it was the same texture as his skin, so I'm like, is the whole thing his skin?
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just changing it for my benefit?
He wasn't on screen long enough, honestly.
No, and I haven't like poured over any stills.
So...
Yeah, and I've heard rumors that he was supposed to be Jon Stewart the whole time, and that like the studio said no, and so he made him Martian Manhunter.
Well, okay. I thought you meant like he was going to be parading around as Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
I was going to be like,
no, that like the actor was going to be Jon Stewart, and then they were like no, so they made him Martian Manhunter. But I'd heard that that actor had been Martian Manhunter forever.
I have no problem with the acting.
I don't even care. I'm not talking. We're just talking about the movie we saw or the thing we saw.
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, it was a fun little like Easter egg. It's one of those things where it's like, again, if this is a movie or if this was like a thing that was going to be released in theaters, this would never exist. You'd never see it. No,
for sure. Absolutely. And like,
especially that scene they clearly shot where like Ben Affleck looks like he just got out of rehab.
Yeah, I felt real bad. Like, he was like, it was clearly Ben Affleck, but there was something like an unrecognizable characteristic about him. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he couldn't come back, like, or like, you know,
he couldn't be Batman again. It's just that, like, he was clearly sick or tired.
Yeah, yeah. But again, like the guy playing Martian Manhunter, I think he did with the very little he had. With the 2 lines
he has, he does a nice job.
He did a nice job.
Yeah. Also, I think the tacked on epilogue is also like post rehab Ben Affleck. So like in the suit, he looks like Batman. Yeah. Especially if you put like suit and goggles and a coat and a Batman costume, like and a filter. Yeah. Yeah. But like having him just wake up and get outside, he looks totally different.
Yeah. He just it was just, I was like, oh. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, like, he's also 5 years older.
Right.
And like 5 years may not seem like a lot, but like,
he's like
look at a photo
50.
of yourself from like 5 years ago. You've changed.
That's true. Yeah. Superman. So I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I like his portrayal. I don't like Man of Steel. I don't like the decisions made by the people who write it.
I've never had an issue with as The Witcher.
I know. Yeah. And he's great. He's a fun actor. Like, I've seen him in other things, and I've seen his American accent, which is good. I've seen him in like doing lots of fun stuff. I've seen him with the British accent and the American accent. Both are done nicely.
Yeah.
And I think he looks like Superman.
Mm-hmm.
The issues I have, of course, are like the last time he was Superman was like more than 5 years ago, and so it's like, like he needs to. If you're going to make your Superman movies, you got to make them kind of all around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, people pushing for Cavill to keep being Superman, I'm like, he's going to look older. Like, it's going to be an older looking Superman. And it's like Superman that kind of doesn't age. So, either you're going to set your movie like in the future or whatever. I don't know. But I like his portrayal. I like his whole look and the voice he gives him. I don't buy his Clark. Or maybe it's like more like a Smallville Clark, where it's like, hi, I'm Clark Kent. It's like, yeah, maybe you might want to slouch. Like this is a kind of like Zack Snyder's Clark Kent is kind of like a glasses. That's for sissies. Like, but this Clark, I liked it, and I liked his portrayal in this movie. I liked the arc he had, such that it was. I knew the black suit was coming, and like if I were in high school, I bet I would have loved it. Mm-hmm. And having seen the reaction to it from the Whedon cut, which is just like, okay, Superman's gotta like be friendly and happy and jokey, and I'm gonna turn the brightness up and stuff like that. Like, but that's not like Whedon's earnest portrayal of Superman. That's like a reaction to literally probably being told by an executive to do the opposite of what Snyder's been doing. Mm-hmm. Like react to the negative criticism and do the opposite. So it's not really an authentic portrayal of Superman. I still haven't seen my Superman yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because even the one we got in the 2017 cut is like a reaction. It's an inauthentic Superman. This is interesting. The black suit is like fine, and I dig it in the context from which it is put. Right? It's like, I'm resurrected. But you were dead. You don't need that. And the ship is like showing you all these different suits, and he's like, I'll go with the cooler one. And I'm like, eh. And I was kind of like okay with it until the end of the movie, when he opens his Clark Kent shirt and he's still wearing it.
Yeah, that's it. That's his suit now.
It's like, no, Superman looks cooler in black. And I'm like, oh my God, you don't get Superman. Like, for me, that's like, no, he wears that suit to kind of like, I don't know, you could say it's like a catharsis, right, or that he's using it to like send a message, whatever it is.
How long does he wear it in the comics?
2 issues?
Yeah.
He literally only wears it to heal in.
Right.
Also,
which, by the way, why can't we just use that?
Right.
Why can't that just be the thing? Why can't it just be a Kryptonian sleeping cone?
Yeah, why does it have to be a mother box wrapped in goo? Also, the other thing that is frustrating about the costume is we do know he will one day put it back on when he becomes a totalitarian monster. Because in BVS in the nightmare future, he's wearing it, and when we return to the nightmare future, he's wearing it.
Listen, that suit means a lot of things.
Yeah, apparently it means, I mean, like, listen, he was wearing it when he annihilated Metropolis.
It means hope, it means resurrection, and it means mourning.
Yes, and death and destruction.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Yeah, but like, whatever. Yeah. But otherwise, like Cavill's return, better. I honestly liked his fight with Steppenwolf better in this than I did in the last one. Just because it was kind of a mess. Just because in the last one it was just a mess. And he's just so distracting looking.
Yeah.
I did like his kind of camaraderie, but again, it felt forced. Like his interaction with Flash or Cyborg when he says like, oh, I wish I were dead or something like that. I was like, that sucks.
He also takes his time.
Yeah, he sure does.
I was like,
he comes back. Well, I love when he comes back. Well, that's Snyder Superman.
I'm not talking about like, fine, I get the family thing.
Yeah.
But he's like wandering the halls of the ship.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, my dude, who the hell cares what you're wearing?
Yeah.
They need you there.
Well, I love when he says.
You don't actually need to wear anything.
When he's talking to, that would have been a very different movie. But I love.
Watch out, Black Label.
When he's talking to his family and he goes, well, they brought me back for some reason. I guess I go figure it out why it is. I'm like, you know why that is. Like, also, is there an option where you're not going to do that? Mm-hmm. But yes, of course, because I've only seen in Snyder's universe a Superman who begrudgingly is Superman. So for him to come back to life, he's like, oh, great, an out. I died. But I guess they brought me back for some reason or another, so I guess I'll get in the fight. Like, it is so consistent with the Superman I don't like that I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Like, why am I critiquing it now? That's literally consistency, which is something that I want in my media. So go for it, I guess. But again, like, it's not a criticism of Cavill's performance. It's just like, I don't like that portrayal. Like, I don't like that interpretation by the creatives who are writing that character. But it is consistent, and it is arguably better than the last one because the other one was just weird. Although I still do like the race.
I do too, and like I honestly, though I will say I definitely didn't remember it until someone pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't there. Gone. But I like that moment. Like that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Because it like harkens back to a moment that still happens in this movie where they're fighting and Flash, hits the gas and he sees Superman see him.
Right. Which is still a great moment. I love that moment.
But like that, like, again, I know it wasn't his creation to put that race in, so I didn't, I shouldn't have expected it to be there, but like that's a fun little callback where Flash is not going to let this go.
Right.
Where he's just like, yeah, but
I am good. I am faster than you.
I still went back in time though. How could you see me?
Yeah. But yeah, so the what the hell was I talking? Superman, that we talked about that. Any other characters we left out that we really want to talk about? Because like Lois, whatever, she's barely in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, Lois has like her moments, and again, other than like the change in terms of how she gets to the resurrection, she provides very much all the same like plot.
Oh, and it feels less weird, and it looks like that grass scene like is still like, oh, this is clearly green screen, but not as clearly as it was in the last one.
I will say, like, part of me does like the Alfred bringing her. Because that's very Batman, planning ahead.
Yeah, but it was also like...
But totally out of nowhere. Because
and we also knew what they were going to do.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that person.
Yeah.
Or we knew... Yeah.
But...
when he's like, get the guns, I'm like, oh, it's Lois, we know.
Yeah.
Why is that a surprise? Why are you even
it's
playing
not a surprise.
Yeah.
I guess, we talked about Aquaman. Willem Dafoe gets to be...
He looks better.
It's
better look. I like that Volko better.
He's got that longer look going.
Yeah.
Good for you, Willem Dafoe.
Right? You can pull it off. Nice.
British Mara.
Stupid.
Bizarre. Just bizarre.
Just a weird choice and whatever.
Amazonians kicked ass, took names.
Yep.
Looking dope.
Looking dope.
Hitting things with hammers.
Yep. The flashback scene where the big fight.
That's fun. I thought that the gods being taller than everyone else, like Zeus, I was like, that's
good
neat.
choice. Yeah.
I like this. Okay, sure, why not? Ares is there. We see a Green Lantern. The ring zips off.
I love that moment. And I think it was in the last one too.
But that's like so weirdly frustrating for me because I'm just like, where's this ring been?
Yeah. Well, it was like 5,000 years ago or whatever. So like, it's been on 1,000 hands.
I guess so, but not around here.
No. No, remember? No humans.
Oh, right. What was he doing here, then?
That wasn't a Green Lantern? Well, because the big war was with Darkseid.
Right.
I guess because the anti-life equation was there or something.
Yeah.
Mother boxes?
Something.
In any case, the lantern they do see is an alien, though.
Yes. In any case, Darkseid forgot what the mother boxes were.
Yeah. Yeah, he sure did. Another thing about Darkseid that I will say, another thing that was like, oh, that's why it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
The voice actor who played Darkseid is a scary monster. Like, okay, you know, it's better than Steppenwolf, who I hate.
I know.
He just sounds like an old fat man.
Yeah.
But like, Darkseid, it was an opportunity because he wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's obviously made from CG. Like he was never going to be in the last movie, but like here he is now. Mm-hmm. You could get anybody. You could get anybody to play him.
Either way, I didn't mind him either way.
He always says like three things.
I was like, whatever. I mean, it's never going to be Michael Ironside's. Obviously, it's like if you grew up watching that's the voice in your head. But like, listen, it's not that's unreasonable to think that's what I'm going to get, and they're obviously going to want to do something very different.
Yeah. And I get it. Snyder's not going to go for fun. He's going to be like, he's scary. He's a scary monster. He's going to sound like a scary monster.
He is the Omega.
Yeah.
We get to see Granny Goodness for like a hot second.
We sure do.
I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
There she is.
I was kind of excited.
There she goes.
Yeah, there she goes. I was kind of excited to see like the Furies. I was like, okay, let's see all of this.
I thought we might at least see them in silhouette.
Yeah, me too.
Like, because Barda has a very distinct silhouette in her armor.
That was really
like,
cool. Oh well.
All right, fine.
So that was cool.
What are you gonna do?
Yep. Epilogue. It's a short film that they tacked on to the end of this movie. It's so incongruous. I get like that, I think, and I truly, this is all conjecture. It's just a theory. I believe that he shot that as a proof of concept to Warner Brothers to say, like, yeah, you've seen what I did. Like, you let me finish the movie that I should have finished in the first place from 2017, but I could still make more. And I think people want it. See?
Yeah.
And I know that he said things like, we deserve to see an interaction between Batman and Joker that like from this universe. And like arguably, yeah, like it was for a little while it was funny that we never got one. That like a universe came and went and both versions of Batman and the versions of Batman and Joker never really interact outside of him jumping on a car.
Yeah.
But I truly believe it was a proof of concept to say, like, I could make a sequel, though, if you want to give me another $200 million. And it's like, because I think, you know, that's where he was going with it. I think that he wanted it to be like, this is, this chapter is where we think they win and yay. The second chapter is they actually lose and it's the nightmare future. And then the third movie is they like go back in time and reboot the universe, which could have been really cool.
It's like Star Wars.
Yes. Yes.
It's like, instead of an Ewok celebration, you go back to the future or whatever.
Well, that's the thing is for me, I was like, that's actually kind of a cool, clean way. And it's something you've never seen before to do your universe where it's like, I'm only gonna make 3 Justice League movies, right? And I'm probably only gonna make like the Batman. You know, I'm gonna produce the other ones. Like I'm gonna produce like Wonder Woman and Batman. Back when Ben Affleck was gonna direct and star in it, and it's like, but after that, I'm gonna make my own stuff. Like he's not in it for the long haul in terms of I'm not gonna make the DC Cinematic Universe forever and like shepherd in like Jaime Reyes' introduction and stuff.
Right.
So it's like it would have been cool or at least respectable to see them kind of like orchestrate a Justice League like strategy where in the third one it ends with a reboot.
Right.
It ends with a organic in-universe reboot, so the next one can be completely different in terms of tone and execution, but it's still technically in continuity because it's like Flash goes back in time and undoes it. And so you get like you don't get a reboot where it starts at the first Justice League movie. You get a new Justice League movie.
Right.
And a new DC universe in general. And it's like, because by the time we made the third Justice League movie, all the actors would have been done. And it's like, that would have been kind of respectable to have an in-continuity reboot built into your universe.
Yeah.
Neat idea. And only DC could pull it off, because Flash is notorious for rebooting your universe.
He can't help himself.
He doesn't, yeah.
It's just, that's what he does.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Flash gets embarrassed, he reboots the universe.
Oh crap, I farted in church, I gotta go. But I feel like we're not going to get that. I think we've seen like direct quotes from Warner Brothers executives that like this is it in terms of Snyder's vision, in terms of Snyder's future, his universe. This is the last of those movies. I think Never Say Never, because
Never Say Never Again.
That's right, James Bond, terrible movie.
Yeah,
but made by the guy who made Empire. So anyway,
right.
But I think that. It really depends on the numbers. And unfortunately, when it comes to this new digital frontier, you'll never know. You know, it used to be, you see a movie, it tanks, you're like, well, they're not making any more Valeria movies. But actually they will be, not really, but like they could, because that was supplemented by the French government.
Right.
In any case, with a digital movie that's released, you know, on a
the numbers are just
secret.
Yeah, it is.
Only they know. And they don't really correlate because it's only about subscribers as opposed to like ticket sales.
Yeah.
So we don't know. But if they got like, I don't know, 5 million subscriptions, they probably will do another one.
Well, I mean, it depends on how quickly those subscriptions get
canceled after this.
Yeah, because I do wonder what they're like.
There's going to be a significant drop off.
Yeah, but I'm also wondering what metrics they're going to be looking at. Like, okay, we made this amount of money for this amount of time. However, it didn't last for X amount of like there's a fallout. From there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. So, do you want to talk about the epilogue?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I never really understood the reasoning behind the nightmare future. I was like, like it's a cool costume for Batman, but like,
yeah, it's very Red Sun.
Yeah, and I like the idea behind like Flash coming back in time in BVS to kind of like inspire Batman to like not be a dick, or not because he doesn't stop being a dick. But I could take it or leave it. I don't really need it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's especially great. Like, I don't think it was very well made in terms of like it being part of that story I just saw.
Yeah.
You know, like
no, I know, and like honestly, like it you know, because we live in a world where injustice exists in terms of video game and comic book, so we know it doesn't require a team up of Apocalypse and Superman.
Darkseid.
Apocalypse and Superman to take over the Earth.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, he can do it on his own.
Yeah, Darkseid could just take over. Superman could do it by himself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if Superman is upset because something happened, presumably the death of Lois Lane,
right?
He could just make them all fall into line without
doing that.
Without making a deal with, like, you know, Darkseid to get the anti-life equation.
Right. Or Darkseid uses the anti-life equation on Superman. Sure. Doesn't need to be but, like, regardless, you know, it was just kind of like it was clearly just Snyder being like, this is fun. I'm not done.
I want to do this.
I want to do this. And clearly, because, like, you know, there's a Deathstroke appearance in the post-credit. What used to be post-credits, but now it's just the end.
No, it's just the end.
He gets a new interaction, which I was like, did they really reshoot that? Because it's just a completely different interaction. First one was, we're going to set up the Legion of Doom. New one, this one, the real one, was, I guess, Deathstroke. And I think I remember them saying that Deathstroke was going to be the antagonist in the Ben Affleck Batman movie.
Okay, then that would.
So it was going to set up the Batman movie, which would have been pretty cool.
Right, and, like, unfortunately, since they did have to reshoot it, like, it would have been interesting if they'd been able to use the original footage and, like, cobble something together from that, because it's like, then he would have been 5 years older in the Snyder Cut version. In the apocalyptic, like, epilogue.
Yes, in the epilogue.
He'd be older.
Yeah, I mean, he gets that neat mohawk.
He does. I'm just saying that just would have been fun. It's not, like, feasible.
Also, I don't know if I like that Batman takes out Slade's eye, but, like, fine.
Yeah.
In this universe, that makes sense.
I guess this is a subjective opinion. I'm gonna fall on my sword for this one.
That's fair.
I'm not a Leto Joker fan.
Oh no. Oh, well, I'll help you with that one.
Thank you.
I really don't like Leto as Joker, and I remember them talking about, you know, what I remember them releasing the promo art, and I'm like, woof. Then I saw the Suicide Squad movie, and I'm like, no. And then I hear, oh, actually, like, there's another version, and it's like, I don't care. And I've seen Leto in, like, 4 different things, and I'm like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah, and again, like, that's an opinion. I'm not a fan of his take on the character.
Yeah, and then we saw this new version, which is it's, like, kind of different, but not.
Right, and again, I'm not, like, we've talked about the movie Joker before.
Yes.
So we're not going to get into that.
No.
However, like, that is going to be my apples to oranges here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, obviously this is coming in the wake of watching Joaquin Phoenix do something very different.
Very different.
Very different approach, given very different material.
And he has his own movie. It's a whole movie.
Totally different movie, but, like, given a very different directive.
Yes.
And, like, I'm sure if you're an actor, you're like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're not going to get to do that.
Well, you can't do that. You're guy, you know.
Yeah.
You're coming in on spec. We're shooting for, like, a day.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't get to do that. And so, like, it kind of felt like somewhere in between him doing his version of it, but also doing a version of Joaquin Phoenix. And, like, it just didn't mesh for me. I was like, this is I don't know what this is.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I also didn't care necessarily for the interaction, and, like, I remember there was controversy about it before they even released the damn thing, where they were like, Batman's gonna say the F word, oh! And, you know, like, I was like, yeah, that this Batman absolutely would say the F word.
This Batman has a Gatling gun on his bat crab. Like,
yeah, this Batman crushed people with his car.
He uses the F word.
He says shit all the time in the last one, so, like, yeah, no, he would absolutely say the F word, like, a lot. But and so I was prepared in this movie, and a couple people say it, including Cyborg, no F-bomb. Then he says it in his interaction with Joker, and it felt so sophomoric, it drove me nuts.
Yeah.
One day I'm gonna fucking kill you. And I was like, oh my god, that's like what, no. Like, not like Batman wouldn't kill. This Batman does. He brands people.
Yeah, this
Batman's a sadist lunatic, and it's like, yeah,
we're not even gonna have a philosophical question about, like, the difference
about the true nature of Batman or what he would say, but, like,
nope, like,
this Batman would do that.
Different.
It was just, but it just felt silly. It was like, oh, I'm gonna get you, but right now I needed to team up with you for no reason, for in a context that I'm never gonna get. For this universe that we're never gonna see, in this interaction that no one should care about, like that sequence for me, I was like, whatever.
Yeah,
like, okay.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of. This is part of Leto's portrayal. The laugh. I don't know. Like, Joker's laugh is supposed to be very iconic.
Yes, and he's going for it.
He's doing something. He's made a decision. Just not a fan.
I guess it's supposed to sound like bats. I got the impression that it was like bats screeching. That was my interpretation of what he's doing. It's about as on the nose as Damaged.
So anyway, I will say, like, I really like the apocalyptic look for Deathstroke for some reason.
Oh yeah, that was
like,
fun.
There's something about that I was like, I dig this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Ooh, I did like Joker goading Batman, like trying to get him to kill him. Not the card part, But I did like the part where he's like, be very careful about the next thing you say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I liked some of that whole stuff. Like, I liked being like, hey, look, it's Flash in the suit he's going to be in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah.
Like, I like the callbacks, I like Deathstroke. But, like, it was just going that far. It was those moments where I'm like, this is all you need. And then it was like, and then we're going to add more.
There was a moment in that epilogue where I was like, oh, he's doing something really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's not what happened.
And then it's not interesting.
It was not interesting. It just wasn't what I thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought until he was addressed, I thought the Joker wasn't even there. Like, I legit thought, I was like, Batman has gone over the edge.
Yeah.
And like, he is constantly haunted by the Joker. Perhaps he did kill him.
Right.
And this is his penance in his head.
Friggin' way
is that
better.
like the Joker is with him at all times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until he makes amends for whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, no, that's not
okay. No, but he's really there.
That's not what happened. He's actually here.
Yeah. I like that a lot. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure we left out some stuff, but the movie's 4 hours long and there's 6 parts.
Yeah,
anyway,
and we can't make a 4-hour podcast.
No, it's already long enough. But you know, at the end of the day, I don't agree with the extreme efforts that were used in terms of bullying, intimidation, and overreaction.
Here's the thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of something
and being excited
and trying to get it noticed and trying to get people on board and like being, you know, just
enthusiastic. There's nothing wrong with enthusiasm.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with, like, you know, like literally when Hellblazer was coming to an end.
Yes,
like,
and they had the hashtag Save Hellblazer.
Save Hellblazer. But it was just something that was like, I might tweet something out, but I did it on my own tweets.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. You didn't like send, you know, dead animals to the people at DC Comics to be like, when,
and like,
you know,
like when someone would tweet something like on something that was related, it's like, all right, fine. You were just looking for whatever.
Piggybacking off of other people's conversations and hijacking
You just
them.
want to get like, and I get that.
You want to signal boost it.
Where I had an issue was when I saw a couple of people who were like tweeting out about a tragedy that was happening to themselves personally, and it showed up there, and it was just more than likely just an accident because you were just looking for a hashtag or you're looking for something specific and they shoved it in there. But that's where it's like, that doesn't shine a good light on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, that is like, that's not a good look for anyone.
No.
It's like, you don't want to be in that camp.
Right. And you know, because it makes everybody look bad.
Yeah.
And when you encourage it or you profit from it, you know, ultimately you are culpable.
Mm-hmm.
But I am glad on some level that the people who genuinely loved the universe and those movies and this idea and Snyder's direction and I don't mean like director direction, but like the direction of his films and the story, that they got closure because it's so rare.
Yeah.
You know? There's so many fandoms out there. I remember when Firefly got canceled and they made Serenity, and it's like, it was a miracle they got a movie, and then the movie tanked, and it was like, there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, I mean, and now that's done.
That's over.
That guy is done.
Oh yeah, no, you're not getting. I mean, like, unless Tim Minear wants to come out and make, you know, more Firefly
all on his own.
You know, but
just
like,
by himself.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I always go to this guy's, but like, I'm never getting another Dredd movie.
No, Dredd's over.
I'm never getting Karl Urban back in that helmet.
No, unless it's like, you know, in a kid's hospital or something. Some really cool kid. It's gonna be like, I want Karl Urban in the Dredd costume.
That would be the coolest kid ever.
The coolest Make-A-Wish kid I've ever met.
That's so sad.
I know.
Don't say that.
We'll cut that out. We can't. It's live. But like, yes.
But you know what I mean? Like,
there's some things we all had to make peace with that we're never going to get. And I think this is like one of those things where it's like, it's a perfect storm. It's lightning in a bottle. It's those things where it's like, recognize that this is never going to come again. Or at the very least, like, you know, enthusiasm is good. Too much of anything is bad. And extremism is always bad. And using that or capitalizing on it or making threats or you know, being toxic, it never helps. And while you know, and the right lesson to learn from this is that miracles do happen. Not that if we bully and intimidate people enough, we will get what we want.
Yeah, that's really not the lesson.
That's not the lesson.
That's not the lesson here. That's not at all it. And also, like, right now this is a hot topic for a lot of people, and there is literally nothing wrong with talking about it. There's literally nothing wrong with talking to someone about it and being like, I wasn't a fan, or I am a huge fan, and having an actual conversation. But like when it starts getting tacky, it usually happens because it's hard sometimes to like something so passionately and then have someone not like it because makes that person think that you don't like me,
right?
You think I'm dumb,
right?
And
because I care so much about it that I like almost interpret it as being a part of me, or an expression of who I am.
Like, here's the thing, I'm a huge fan of Silent Hill too, but I literally don't expect almost anyone I know to match my passion, to know about it as much as I do, to be able to be like, oh, that's the music from this specific scene, that's this from here. I totally get that. That's my fandom, and like if someone else doesn't like it, hey, you know what, that's okay. And I know that I like it, and maybe they have a criticism and it's like, I hadn't thought about that, and maybe I'm not gonna like take that immediately, but like I might think on that and be like, that's a good point. That is a very good point.
Right. And it never feels good to hear the thing that you love or know intimately criticized.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely true.
But it's about your reaction that is key. And it's about how you handle it.
Yes. So like, I guess what I'm saying is like, try to be cool with each other.
Yeah.
People who are huge fans, be patient and cool with those who are not. And those who are not, be cool with those who are.
Right.
Because the fact is, it's like we all have something that other folk don't like.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like, if you're not hurting someone and you're outwardly not making someone feel bad, we can all like the things we like and have a good time out there.
Right.
So just be awesome.
Yeah.
I believe we have some super chats.
We do. So let's take a minute and answer a bunch of questions that I'm sure will continue the conversation and maybe cover some
and I apologize.
I
hope you guys are still here. But we want to just kind of get through this one.
Yes. So, and listen, we're going to cover some things that maybe you were like, oh, they didn't talk about that one thing.
Yeah.
I would like to hear that. So let's do it. So here we go. Here we go. Zyko the Psycho says, axe to the shoulder, not impressed, casual freeze. That might be my favorite Superman moment on screen. Now, if I could just get that for Nightwing. You're going to have to wait a long time for an on-screen Nightwing, but we didn't get an on-screen Snyder Cut either, so you can just watch Titans. I know Nightwing's in that. I don't think he's great, but who knows? But I do like that moment. I liked that sequence, but I don't like them saying not impressed. Like, Superman's not looking to be impressed, but I do like him using his like powers.
You were
casually.
just dead, man.
Patrick Lawson, ComicPOP to the rescue of my Monday.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Monday. Zyko the Psycho back says, did you hear Snyder's plan for Justice League 2 and 3? Explains Lois's pregnancy test, not Clark's baby, and Cyborg's vision. Also, the world needs you help.
Yeah. Man, Martian Manhunter, get out there.
Yeah, what
John.
are you doing, man? You're doing, what are you got your own farm with your own family and you're like just hanging out with them instead while the world burns? Brian Rollins, we'll have to catch the replay, but have some of my stimulus money for the great work you guys do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hang on to that stimulus,
That's
guys.
Right. Use it on
use it what you need to use it on first, instead of like what you want to use it on.
Nate Togg says, that's a lot of movie. Indeed it was.
It was.
Just for me, Tube, is it just me or are Batman and Martian Manhunter almost useless? Manhunter gets Lois back into journalism because for some reason he cares about that, and Alfred has more to do than Batman himself. Alfred certainly builds those gauntlets that like absorb heat vision, so like
Yeah, no, obviously some characters were used very differently. Like since we had more about Cyborg and Flash, some of the other characters kind of took a backseat.
Big time. Kevin Kruger, I liked the Manhunter cameos in the movie, and I've got some Manhunter books for y'all coming to GBU with some other stuff. Also, do you think U.S. Agent will be a schmuck on the show like in the comics? In terms of Martian Manhunter, thank you very much. I know that like a lot of our Martian Manhunter collection has to do with you. I know that I believe he sent us the Martian Manhunter eating Chacos action figure, which is amazing.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I picked up another Martian Manhunter book, and I was almost like I've got like. I'm going to do a GBU where it's just 3 different attempts to do a Martian Manhunter book.
Oh, I like that.
So we'll do that eventually.
I've read a couple of like it was like 2000-something series.
Mm-hmm. And we have the DeMatteis series as well, thanks to you.
Yeah.
I think U.S. Agent is going to be just a victim of circumstance. That's my theory. We'll see what happens, but I think we're going to find out that like John Walker is like, I'm just trying to do the right thing. They called me. I'm here. Like, I'm ready to go. And like, it'll be like easy to think he's going, like it's easy to demonize him and then find out like, oh no, that way you can get U.S. Agent. So it's like, you don't just have a guy who's like, if someone asks me to Captain America, like you don't necessarily know that like Sam Wilson was tricked into giving up the shield, you know? So
yeah,
I hope that it's like cool. But I also want to see him like represent an element of the like of America that you don't normally see. Akil Ahmed says, well, he's helping us out with an adorable GIF of a working out pair or whatever.
I think it's saying "Let's go."
Let's go. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
Sam Shaw helping us out. Thank you very much, Sam.
Thank
you. Dan Hardcastle, good name, says, hi from West Yorkshire, UK. Thanks for all the great insights. Do you think Zack will be tempted to go back to the DCU? I think he already was, and that's why the epilogue exists.
I mean, like it.
I think if they asked him, he'd do it in a heartbeat.
Listen, I think we're all humans. When you're tempted with that much like attention,
yes,
and you know compliments from those who are fans, for sure. Like,
right?
Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that sort of like feeling good about oneself?
That's true.
And maybe like artistically speaking, maybe he has something to say, but like maybe he's also like, I'm ready to say something else somewhere else, and I'll leave you wanting more.
Yeah,
like it could just be the ultimate, like, haha.
Yeah,
you'll never know how good it could have been. That's the ultimate.
Yeah, that's a hell of a swan song for him. Girk Petchik says, what do you think about the music originally? What do you think about the music in the original? I love Elfman, but I thought the music sucked. It felt rushed and cut right when it was getting good. Yeah, I felt it was an afterthought. I mean, Elfman using his own Batman theme for Batman. There's a different Batman. Like, the themes are so tailored. Like, I love Williams' score for Superman. Mm-hmm. And obviously, Bryan Singer's version of Superman and Brandon Routh, it was just trying to do that again, which is why they co-opted and then kind of like altered the Williams score, because they're carrying over the same character. But this is a very different Batman. I love the Man of Steel theme, even if I don't like Man of Steel. And I think it's very suited for that character. Yeah,
I definitely could see what you mean about like it feeling a little unpolished.
Yeah, it did.
That doesn't mean bad, but like definitely I don't. Here's the thing. As much as I remember more about this movie than I do the 2017 one, I definitely don't remember any of the music except the Wonder Woman theme.
Yeah,
like no. I don't remember like really like feeling connected to any of the themes.
No, the themes for me, I was like, like it was fine. It felt more cohesive.
Yeah,
but I didn't feel like I was getting themes for everybody. Like I don't know what Cyborg's theme is versus Flash's theme.
And it could have been in there.
It could have been in there, but I just didn't notice.
That's I don't know.
Yeah. Kevin Kruger, let's have a crossover with Shadowman, Gambit, and Swamp Thing. New Orleans, nice. Girk Pectus, I gotta work. I can't wait to watch your videos. They're always great. I thought Leto was the worst villain I've ever seen in Suicide Squad, and in this he's even worse. He's certainly unregulated. Justin Go with a mustache. Seeing Darkseid getting bodied by old gods was sweet. In the aftermath, even sweeter. Don't tell them I went out like a bitch. Bleeds out on the floor.
Yeah, they had to like carry him away.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I was like, what? Like Ares can just kick your ass? Cool.
Yeah.
By the way, loved seeing Steppenwolf just getting his head chopped off. I was like, good. Get away. Done. Moving on.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, you
with
lame.
Your weird living, not living armor.
Your weird, yeah. RD, the theatrical cut was choppy, very average superhero film. The Snyder Cut is more coherent, extended, pretty average superhero film. That's a fair criticism. I understand. Yeah. Taylor Petcher, I felt the epilogue could have been cut out. It felt like a bunch of post-credit scenes stitched together. For me, that felt like just one little short film that like you release on YouTube or something. But yeah. Jonathan Hughes.
It also honestly felt like there was a couple of endings to the movie.
Yeah.
Like, again, you can't help when you're talking about a long movie to make parallels to Lord of the Rings. Like, I know we're trying very hard not to compare things,
right? But
like in terms of that as well, where like you've got Return of the King and it's like 12,000 endings.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
But I wanted every single one of those. Jordan Hughes, longtime fan. I can't explain in words how much I love your channel. Well, thank you very much, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
I'm doing okay with money for the first time, and I wanted to share the love with the best people and the channel on YouTube. Thank you for the hours of joy during some of the hard parts of my life. Don't ever change, you guys. Well, Jordan, your generosity is so very much appreciated. Thank you so much, Jordan. Hopefully you keep some of that for yourself, man. You gotta, you gotta take care of number one. As Spider-Man says, take care of number one. At least when he was a wrestler. But thank you so much for your support, man. We really, really appreciate it.
No, but thank you.
Very lucky to have you. Thank you, man.
I hope you're still here.
Yeah. If you're not, hopefully you're watching the repeat. Why try I sweat? I love the content. I'll catch us on the replay. I love watching your Transformers Age of Extinction commentary every month. Hopefully you guys can do more commentaries. We'd love to do more. It's just that they don't do very well, but who knows? Maybe in the future we'll have a better place for them.
I was just there with...
Oh my god! Yeah, if you haven't already watched it, we did a commentary track for the worst, one of the worst Transformers movies. That's saying a lot.
And that's what I'm talking about. There's an actor. I love him. I love Stanley Tucci. I think he's an incredible actor. and he does this Transformers movie, and he's just chewing the scenery.
Around. He's like, oh, okay, this sucks. Yeah, I got it. Aunt Dujar says, I went in with cautious optimism, but man, did this movie surprise me, and I enjoyed it immensely. Definitely became one of my favorite superhero films. Nice. The Red Samurai, Martian Manhunter was supposed to be Jon Stewart. What? P.S. Jon Stewart's amazing. Come on, DC comic book writers. Don't worry, he's getting his due very soon.
I'm excited to see. Yeah. Honestly, you know.
He also says, also, do you think for Jon Stewart they could have cast Common Justice League Mortal style? By the way, that was not the final script for JLM. Okay.
I don't know who they would. It would depend, I guess, also on the age that they are going to attribute Jon Stewart to being, because this would have also been the first time we saw a Green Lantern in the universe completely without any sort of establishment. And it's like, then it's the question of like, where has he been? At least
with Martian Manhunter, it's like, I'm a Martian.
Yeah, as a Martian Manhunter, it's like,
I guess space.
He was, but like, if we're living in the Man of Steel world, that character has seen the retaliation to a character who was an alien, and maybe he's like, I don't even look like him. I can make myself look like him, but I don't honestly look like him. Yeah. So like, I'm already at a disadvantage. So it's like, I get why he didn't jump out there. But with Jon Stewart, it's like, where have you been? I know you're patrolling the entire sector, but like, there've been some stuff going on here. Right.
B Black, still new to DC, 1 year in, but I love Batfleck and Man of Steel. Not an Ezra Miller fan. And Lois's character seems better in their comic, but this helped me see the style difference between Marvel and DC. I've heard so much about. Good comic exposure. Yeah, that's fair. It's very different. It's funny because like every like generation or so, DC has a very big tonal shift. And so we've been in that for the last 10 years or so, 10, 15 years. DC is very different from what it was 15 years ago. And it will be very different in 15 years from now. So like, I don't know if it's necessarily like the most authentic depiction of what DC is and can be and should be, but it certainly is a depiction of what Snyder's vision is.
Yeah, and honestly, like, anyone who, because of this film, is gravitating towards any of the characters, especially if you're gravitated towards Batfleck, like, Batman has so many standalone stories that you can just grab that might be a little older and might tonally fit with something that you might be looking for, something a little darker. That like that is an absolutely great jump. Yeah.
Zamin Pasha says Jon Stewart plus Hawkgirl is way better than Cyborg. Also,
So listen, I'm happy to have them all. But Jon Stewart and Hawkgirl, I would love to see a Hawkgirl on screen.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It'd be just great looking.
That relationship, that falling out.
I know. What are your thoughts on the new Superman movie? If it's not Clark Kent, then they should just set it in the Batman Beyond future and give us a proper Superman film as well. I agree. I don't even know if, I mean, I know that Coates is doing the Superman script, but like, I don't know if that means it's going to be not Clark. We'll see. But whatever they want to do. I've kind of given up on wanting a Superman movie at this point. I'll just take the comics. Ali Al-Ziadi says, I like you, Sal. I'm not a big fan of Man of Steel, but Hans Zimmer's Superman score is amazing. I agree.
Not like you, not I like you.
Oh, like you, Sal. Well, maybe he does like me.
I like you.
Thank you. That's enough. But yeah, man, I love Hans Zimmer's Superman score. It's great. That trailer, another one. The Man of Steel trailer? Yes. Jacob Montez helping us out. Thank you very much, man. Will I Am Golden. I see the Snyder Cut more like a cinematic play than a movie. That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
With like acts instead, which is why like it shifts like
tone
or like like complete like we're over
here now.
Yeah, and I mean that happens in movies, but like in the way that it's like we close the curtain.
Exactly.
The curtain comes
they
back
certainly
up.
Do. Taylor Petchter says, Diana used the bracer shockwave attack way too much. It's like someone was playing Injustice and she kept spamming the same move.
Listen, sometimes one move, okay? You only learned one move, and then the rest of it's just button smashing, so you just keep doing that over and over again until someone stops you.
That's right. The more I think about this movie, says Kevin Myers, the more I like it. It doesn't all work, but the stuff that works really works. Much love, you two. Thank you, Kevin.
Well, thank you.
I think that's a lot of people's opinion about this.
Sure.
Movie. Neil and Bradley, this has bothered me since Batman vs. Superman. Why wasn't Wonder Woman the one getting the visions? Wouldn't that make more sense? I guess. I mean, I think because Batman is like the star of the movie and they wanted to make a Batman movie. Like, it's really about Snyder, like...
I think it's because he wants to bring it back to Batman v Superman and that like rocky start to their relationship, and so he's trying to do like it's a poetry, it rhymes kind of thing. Yeah,
Batman's arc in this movie I really liked, where he's like, no, we gotta bring him back because like I'm responsible for my parents' death and I'm responsible for Superman, and this if I have an excuse to bring someone back to life, I'm gonna take it. Like,
this Batman doesn't know about Lazarus Pits.
Yeah, and then friggin', I can imagine, what's his name? Flash, like, well, I can go back in time. We gotta go back about 45 years. Well, no, more like 30 years.
We have something very important to do.
Yeah, really quick.
Yeah, hang on. It's gonna change everything.
Batarang. Girk Pectus, did it bother you that Snyder and Joss Whedon showed off more of the Amazon's muscular bodies? I know it bothered a lot of people, but I don't think it was as bad as the pics made it look. No.
What? Not at all.
No, you did notice their abs.
I did.
You were like, whoa, look at those sick abs.
Yeah, I really was kind of jealous.
Yeah, they were sick.
Like, God damn it.
Right?
No, I mean, like, I have zero problem with that. I mean, that kind of thing was already established in the first Wonder Woman movie.
They look like that. They're Amazons. Where do you think that word comes from? What does it mean? What are they referring to?
Yeah,
like,
I have zero problem with that.
Yeah, no.
Swing them hammers.
Yeah, right? Ethan Velez, the freeze breath was great and loved the fly scene. Yeah, it was cool. No complaints. Wonderly Roth, which Todd McFarlane Snyder Justice League figure will you get? Thanks for tackling this behemoth. Thank you very much for your support.
I appreciate that.
None of them.
Really?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I have enough McFarlane figures that I want to get that I haven't yet. Like, I kind of want to get that Devastator Batman figure because it's just so big and heavy.
Yeah, I'd probably go for the Batman one because that Batman suit is obviously very Dark Knight Returns looking, and like it's just like I don't mind it so much. It's all right.
The Happy Masquerader, sorry, slightly late to the show. Did you guys talk about Joker's reach around comment yet? No, we didn't talk about it. I thought that it was best left to the film itself and not so much to referring to it or reminding everyone it exists. Algie Try, here is $20 to remind Sal how amazing guy and host he is.
Yes,
Thank you,
he
very
is.
kind. I think Tiffany is equally excellent.
No.
At least, actually, quite better. No, you're right. You are better. ComicPOP, Sal, hell yeah. This is from the last Elseworlds Exchange. Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much, man.
That was a dope Elseworlds Exchange.
You're very kind.
Not to take over and to advertise our own crap, but like if you're looking for an episode about talking about failing upwards and like hopefully creatively motivating you to like be okay with like letting go of some stuff, you gotta check this out. Like if you're in the midst of writing your own thing, making your own thing, like go check this out because it might help you out.
Yeah, and if you like Toy Galaxy, Dan's on it. So
yeah, that too.
Just some guy with a mustache. Use your stimulus money on something you need to use it on. You got it. Slam super chat on Sal and Tiffany's desk. Wham. Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
No!
The Captain Coon. Apocalypse showing up and no one from New Genesis coming to help him and give exposition is weird, and I don't like it for reasons that I can't properly and intelligibly explain in 225 characters.
No, it's true.
No, the reason that it bothers you is because it's weird and he shouldn't do that. Like,
literally the fact that Orion doesn't pop in and go like, hey, I noticed a lot of boom tube activities going on here.
Yeah. It's weird that he even gets his hands dirty. For me, I was like, Darkseid's swinging a hammer and like punching people is like so beneath him.
Yeah.
Like Darkseid doesn't hang out with Granny Goodness, the Furies, the Parademons, Calabac because he's a family man. He hangs out with them because he likes having slaves and other people do his work for him. No one else is going to keep that chair warm but him. That's what he does. That's why he has the Omega beams. He doesn't have to get up.
He's like a cat.
Yeah. Max Pepina says, greetings from Windsor, Ontario. Well, greetings to Windsor, Ontario. I remember I've been to Stratford, Ontario at least 4 different times. Love that area.
I've never been to Canada.
Well, we should take you sometime. What do you guys look forward most to when it comes to Disney Plus shows later this year? Loki, Ms. Marvel, What If, or Hawkeye? Love you guys. Keep up the good work. Honestly, it's got to be What If, but I want to see Kate Bishop so bad, so it might be Hawkeye.
Oh, I'm literally between What If and Loki.
Loki. It's going to be nuts.
I think I'm excited for all of them. The What If ones, of course, like I like vignettes.
Yes.
Like I'm a vignette kind of gal. Mm-hmm. I think that's fun if they're like well done, told, like in the time that they have.
Yeah. Plus Watcher.
Yeah. Plus Watcher. Yeah.
KevBot1995, excellent discussion. Despite its flaws, the movie showed coherence and heart. Zack went out with a bang and even got Darkseid. What a treat. Thanks again for all you peeps for the community. Here's to 100K. Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank
with your help, we'll get that 100K.
I hope so.
Hats Beetle, glad to see the new Justice League. Kind of wish Shayera Hawkgirl was in the movie, though. Underrated.
Yeah, she's literally the only one from that like classic kind of like in your head what you picture the League to be, who's not represented at all.
Yeah, and they're not really doing her justice in the comics, so it would have been pretty cool to see her.
Yeah.
I just want, Rah! That's her.
At least they could have had any of the Hawk people, because like Hawkman, and she have been.
They should have been in the fight at the beginning.
That's what I'm thinking. Like they could have been there, and it wouldn't have been a problem because they've been resurrected so many times.
This is so cool. Damn it. Russell Simmons, nothing interesting to say except you guys are awesome. Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, Russell. Thank you very much for your support, man. Storm King, which Snyder Cut movie setup would you like to see next if he could do more? Personally, I'd love to see the Batman Deathstroke movie, maybe a streaming show. Be strong and say awesome. You too, Storm King. Honestly, it's got to be the Batman movie.
Yeah, for sure. And like honestly, if Zack was like, I have to do something or else.
Yeah.
And like
and Affleck's not up for directing.
Yeah, I'd rather see him try a show.
No.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean,
what's that like?
Maybe he was testing the waters.
With
maybe
a 4-hour movie, he's like, could I do a show?
Could I do a show? And it's like, yeah, you can.
Sure, why not?
Probably. I mean, like, why not? Try it. We've caught up. We've reached all the super chats. We want to thank everybody for hanging out with us, for supporting us, and for subscribing. We're very lucky to have all of you here.
Yes.
We really, really appreciate everybody. Before we go, we got to recommend books. There's more. There's also more super chats, but also there's comic books, and we need to recommend them because that's what we do here. We're a comic book show. Captain Someone, hi Sal from Wales, first super chat ever, if small. It's just fine. Thank you very much, Captain Someone.
Someone did bring up that moment where Mara like almost took down Steppenwolf on her own.
Coolest moment, like that was the coolest like bonus moment. We were like, what?
Yeah.
She bloodbends him.
Yeah.
She's like, hold on a minute.
Literally, I was like, hey, wait, Aquaman, you stay here. Mara,
you're in.
Batman shows up. What? Can you do that?
Yeah, keep your shirt on, Arthur. I'm gonna get Mara in this one.
Can you do that, or you just talk to fish?
Yeah. Can you do anything else? I cannot say yeah.
That did not.
I can't believe they cut that out.
I can.
Sucks.
Listen, we always have it in our hearts.
He says my man, but he doesn't say yeah.
We also we'll forever have Seuss on the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some recommendations for books that are coming out this week we think you should pick up. Batman Superman is coming out. I'm kind of excited just because like it's Jean Louis Yang's version of both characters. You got art by Danny Miki. It looks like fun. I think we're getting a new version of, or at least a classic version of Magpie. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Magpie?
That's right.
No way.
Do you own a magpie? If you do, you are most fortunate. I'm also excited for Detective Comics number 1034. This, I believe, is the first mainstream detective comic. No, it's by Josh Williamson and Mariko Tamaki. I think it's because there's two stories in one. But yeah, it's Tamaki's Detective. It's got Dan Mora's cover, which I love. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks like a lot of fun. And also, while I was not a fan of the artist choice, I guess I have to recommend this book because I want to read it. It is Alien #1 from Philip Kennedy Johnson and Salvador Larroca. We're going to see Marvel's Alien. And I'm going to try and go in with an open mind.
And an open heart.
And an open heart because I've been wanting Alien to be cool and great. Dark Horse did a nice job with the property for a good long time. But, we'll see what Marvel can do with it. Oh, God. Why do they keep pushing Scream?
Why not? They have a character named Scream. You don't push that?
Yeah.
You definitely push that.
And I want to also remind everybody, don't forget, if you've ever been interested in Valiant, Shadowman #1 is coming. It's on its way. You can pre-order it before the 5th. I would definitely recommend checking it out. If you're ever going to pick up one Valiant book, you can't go wrong with the Shadowman book. John Davis Hunt's art is sick. Cullen Bunn is a good, solid writer who knows story structure and character and horror, and he does a really cool job. I've read the first 2 issues, and they're solid. They're just it's the closest thing to a Marvel DC boom book that Valiant has been able to do.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Without it feeling like, what? But the what is in a good way. You're like, what?
We also, this isn't coming out this week, but you mentioned this to me last week too. Like, fans of Justice League Dark, it's not its own book anymore.
Yeah, no. If you want to read Justice League Dark, you've got to buy Justice League from Brian Michael Bendis, because in the back, way in the back, is a hidden Ram V series. That's called Justice League Dark.
It's just so disappointing for me. I am going to recommend this week Excalibur number 19. Betsy Braddock is back, but she's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Psylocke's here to help sort her out.
Yeah.
So let's go find out about that by Teenie Howard with art by Marcus Toe. I also want to give a shout out to Once and Future number 17.
Wow.
Kieran Gillen, art by Dan Mora. He's so good. Love.
Yep.
I also want to say fans of the Batman Black and White series, number 4 will be coming out. Writers like Joshua Williamson, Chip Zdarsky, Daniel Warren Johnson, Carl Kerschel, Becky Cloonan, art by Terry Dodson, Riley Rossimo, Rachel Dodson, Nick Bradshaw, a whole bunch of folk.
Wow.
Delato does a variant cover.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of stories you're going to see in there. Obviously, Daniel Warren Johnson's going to do his own thing, like with himself. Chip Zdarsky's teamed up with Nick Bradshaw. I like Nick Bradshaw. He's got a super dope style. And it looks like Josh Williamson's with Riley Rossimo, with Becky Cloonan, with Terry Dodson. So if you are a fan of that like vignette kind of thing, I like the last Black and White book. It was pretty solid. So
yeah, I'd
give it a look. That one is a little more costly.
Yeah.
It's a little more costly because you get a bunch of stories in it.
Right.
But they're not like ongoing stories. They're just like little thing doing.
It is $6.
It's $6, 48 pages. So.
But it's 48 pages, yeah.
It's totally up to you.
Girk Pectus, the reason a lot of people were mad about Amazon showing off their muscular body is because it was more tasteful in Wonder Woman movie, but the actresses said they had no problem with it and they were always comfortable.
Ah.
Cool.
I honestly, I guess I didn't notice too much in terms of that. I think I was personally more focused on the the fact that I was like this really reminds me of 300.
Yeah.
And, like, here are the reasons why, and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Spears,
Like,
helmets.
Yeah. So like, I was definitely
brick.
thinking more in terms of that. But listen, as long as the actresses had no problem with it, then I have no problem with it.
No, same. Somebody recommended that we read Erratic. They sent me a copy. I read Erratic. It was good. Solid. But then I saw like every other YouTuber was like comic book YouTuber was talking about it. And I'm like, you don't need me to talk about Erratic. They've got it covered. But they did send me a copy and I did read it and it was good. Like it's a fun series. Good art. Also, Tiffany has a cool idea that we need to see in a Batman series. It's not something that they've done for about 20 years, but I would like to see it. Tiffany, would you take it away?
Is it my pitch?
Yeah.
But you said they were kind of already doing that.
Yeah, they are with Urban Legends, but like,
I was talking about how I was like, I think it's time for Batman Legend to come, Legend of the Dark Knight to come back, because that's like something that recently I've like been discovering and reading through. We did Gothic. We've done Venom.
Yep. And there's so many more that we could do.
There's so many more.
Shaman.
But like the concept of like having a Batman book ongoing that like every 5 issues has a new creative team, I think allows DC to basically have that like flash in the pan of like, oh, hype it up, here's a new creative team, and you as the purchaser know that like after 5 issues, if you weren't a fan of this creative team, the next one's
come
coming.
right back. Like so if you're not happy with it right now, like you just wait 5 issues and
I'd say 5 to 6.
5 to 6. Yeah.
Because like it also I think would create a interesting trade release as well.
Yeah.
Because it's like folk like to trade weight, it's like, well, this story's coming out, you're gonna grab this trade.
And it also like DC, unlike Marvel, is unafraid of making trades and having them available. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's a trade farm. That's why Legends of the Dark Knight was created. It was created to be a trade farm. And it's like, dude, Batman's your #1 book. You don't need Black Label anymore, although Black Label did just get a new editor, and so congratulations to them.
Yeah. But like the idea of it not just being a vignette comic, of it being just like, here's a story, here's like a full comic book, and then there's going to be another one for like 5 to 6 issues. Here's the story, moving on. And it takes place during Batman's past. It has to, you have to be able to point to a time.
Yep.
And especially now, since like everything goes.
Yep, anything goes.
You can tell a story, and like as long as you don't have anything that's like earth shattering or super continuity dividing, like just tell a small story. It's okay.
No, it's true. So I really agreed with that. I was just like, bring that back. Like, bring back Legends of the Dark Knight. #, Legends of the Dark Knight.
I would love to see that. I really like that idea. I know they're doing it kind of with Black and White here, but it's like, I'd rather see these creative teams have an opportunity to like flesh it out, where it's like, hey, Chip Zdarsky, I know you're busy. Right. But do you have an arc?
Do you have a 5-issue story?
Yeah.
I know you do.
Then like you can be good, or you can come back later after we have a couple more creatives. Exactly. But like you don't have to like dedicate like over a year to like building up a bat story. It's like, here it is.
Yeah. And you can also like, you can tempt not just creators that you might want to court and get into your into your other books. Like you could get like, you could have you could do that. You could tempt, like, you get Grant Morrison and be like, I'm going to come back to do this one really weird story like Gothic. Or you could bring back older creators that you like can't necessarily count on to do an ongoing series again, but you could get a 5-issue story that's pretty baller out of them. Like you could bring DeMatteis back, you get Matt Wagner to do something. Like you could get all these different classic creators to come back and do something, you know, even if you're just hearing pitches. You know, you're just like, wow, that's actually really cool. And if I put a different artist on that, it might actually sell really good.
You can honestly have creative teams working on things simultaneously. Even if like their book isn't coming out next, that you just have the next one ready to go because you're not worried about the continuity of it.
And you're not worried about the sales because you know it's Batman and it's gonna sell.
Yeah, like literally you're only worried about like having the next book ready to go when like this one ends.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Like I feel like that's like I would love that.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love that.
Most of Despheres says thoughts on Emerald Fennel on Zatanna. Also, is there going to be more episodes of back issues on Invincible? No, there won't be any more Invincible unless like the show blows up the episode, but I'm very happy with the Invincible episode we did. We had a really good time like making that episode, and you know, I think we said all we need to say about Invincible. Like I don't want to necessarily just do chapters on that, especially if like the show's gonna do it faster than us because it's like done, and you can just read the books. Like I want you to enjoy back issues as a series that like gets your feet wet and introduces you to the idea, or if you were already read the book, refamiliarizes you with the book and like you revisit it with old friends, having a fun time at its expense. Like that's what I want the show to be. I don't want it to be like we must check in with Invincible every few episodes to make sure that you're caught up on the story. Like you want to be caught up on Invincible, it'll take you way less time. Just buy the book and read it. But hopefully we introduced a lot of people to Invincible, which is what I wanted to do in the first place. Thoughts on Emerald Fennel? I don't know her. I've never seen her in anything. So I have no idea. And I have no opinion.
It looks like she's here to write the Zatanna movie, according to Variety.
Okay. I have never seen anything she has written.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't care, I guess, who would write it. If they made a Zatanna movie, I'm just going to buy the ticket.
Right.
I'll buy a couple tickets just to promote the magical side of DC.
Right. I will say that... I've heard good things about Promising Young Woman, so I do so based on the strength of that, who knows?
I'm just saying, like, just more magic in DC.
Yeah. Hashtag more magic in DC. But yeah, listen, for those of you who have joined us, we really appreciate you checking out this show.
Yeah.
We do this every Monday around 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk about comics usually, but we may just dive in and talk about Falcon Winter Soldier episodes 1 and 2 next Monday.
Yeah.
Along with the comics that came out this past week, so that you are familiar with what's coming out and maybe get an informed decision on what to buy the following week.
Yeah.
We also would encourage you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is the best way to help us out because then you'll know when new videos come out. And in case you're not familiar, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are when most of the shows come out. Our weekly review show. Tuesdays, so far every other Tuesday, but we're gonna see what happens, is gonna be our podcast where I talk with another host for about an hour about any particular nerdy topic. You'll see what the topic is when the show goes live, but that's also live and interactive as well. And then Wednesdays we release Back Issues, which is our pre-recorded long-form series where we break down a trade paperback or story arc with two other hosts, sometimes Tiffany, sometimes two other guys, on a couch where we just talk about that story for about an hour, or if it's in the case of Doomsday Clock 3. So, you know.
I think we should just say thanks to you guys for being here and sharing your opinions, really, like...
And being cool.
Yeah, being cool. Being very cool with each other.
Being very representative of our community.
Yeah, honestly. And, like, you know, again, I know this is, like, you know, when people's fandoms, like, are involved, there's a lot of passion. But I just want to say how much we appreciate you guys being...
Cool.
Who you are and being cool.
Agreed. Also, we are very close. We're on the cusp of reaching 100,000 subscribers. I wanted to tease that because when we do, not only will there be a live show from the entire foursome of the team, hopefully, we will... I can never speak for all of them, but like I know that in spirit everybody will be there. They're going to do their best to be there, depending on when we reach. Because it's literally... Once we hit the 100K subscriber, like once we hit the milestone we're reaching for, we do a massive multi-hour stream where we just hang out with you, eat dinner, and hang out and talk comics and movies and stuff. But we're also going to be unveiling something for the first time since we changed our name, which was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
March 26th will mark the 7th or 8th year that we have been ComicPOP, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be doing something to represent the change, or the big milestone. So
we are.
If you are on Patreon.com/ComicPOP, you know what that is. If you are at a certain tier, what that is. We're rebranding.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize.
We're not changing the name, but we're incorporating the brand. Yeah.
Oh, I got some stuff to do.
But because Tony's also not only COO of ComicPOP, but also the head graphic designer and the only graphic designer. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We are very, very lucky to have all of you, and we really appreciate you sharing yourselves and sharing your time and for some of you, your finances.
Yes.
So we will see you guys soon, and that's it. So thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
So long.
Bye.